Hello, everyone. Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Welcome on this Sunday. Hopefully, everybody's doing great as always. Thank you for tuning in to the channel. Hello, everyone. Scotty White of World Combat Sports. Let me fix this right quick. I appreciate everyone's supporters of World Combat Sports once again. This is the Devin Haney Backlash Part 2, and primarily to address some of the people or individuals or voices that had something to say about my comments yesterday. Coming to the building, hit the thumbs up button. Appreciate it. Drop your comments on this particular subject. And yeah, this might offend a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? It might offend a lot of people in which I'm retrieving from the trash bin in the first place. I'm not worried about that. For those people that I retrieve from the trash bin, you're supposed to get upset. If you won't get on my live, if you want to address this in front of the public and you choose to talk behind the scenes, then so be it. But we're gonna talk about the process with part 2 of Devin Haney comments. I want to start off by reading Alex Ayala. Salute to you for stopping through, Alex. He said, I really don't see the point in Haney saying such thing. He has the skills and experience to fight whoever they put in front of him. Sooner or later, they will meet, saying this won't get Loma fight any faster because Teofimo Lopez and Loma is a done deal. Haney should have just waited to the fight to fight the winner of Lomachenko and Teofimo, and he would get a bigger payday fighting either guy if that's the case. I like Haney, and that won't change because of what he said. Just call it for what it is. And appreciate that comment. Like I said before, one thing we have to understand about what Devin Haney said, in internal to the Black community conversation, that white boy term in a hurt business or athletics in the South, especially, I've heard it before. It's not one of those light terms that you just say, okay, that's okay. It's been said in our community before. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that I mention as underlining as being racist. It's more so being braggadocious. It's more so being disrespectful, and everything that I mentioned yesterday is all of that. But you have to understand the maturity aspect of what's coming out your mouth and what era and these times that we live in, right? If Devin Haney, who is a very highly touted prospect in the sport of boxing, people are tuning in to see Devin Haney. He has a brand, he has a name and everything else. Shit, what he just said is not going to ruin that. It's just words. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to ruin that. But at the point for who he directed it towards, it may provide him a little bit more resistance. He may indeed have to prove that just because he is damn near at the top, he's standing at the top of the hill, but yet his projection was was to a fighter that's a double Olympian, gold standard, and also he was able to come in here and complete some feats that many fighters can't say they did. So they got love for the neighboring fighter. They got love for Vasily Lomachenko. I'll stick to whatever I've been saying previously about Lomachenko. He's a good fighter, but I just thought people, praise him a little bit higher than what he should have. Now, does that substitute what Devin Haney said about he'll never lose? I think it was out of box a bit for where he's at, because right now they don't have a handle on him having a WBC belt. Sometimes you got to be smart. Sometimes you just got to not turn the other cheek, right? Because it wasn't like a shot was fired from Lomachenko, right? But it was the fact that when you're talking about maturity, being a business person, just because you got enough money that's more than the average person, you got to think about getting more money. You got to think about expanding the bag, so to speak. Not going out here talking on a fighter that you are not even close to fighting, that Devin Haney. You're a smart kid, man. You and your dad are smart, intelligent individuals, man. You didn't have to come out with that statement right now because the fight is no way, shape, or form is going to happen before Teofimo Lopez. That's my disappointment in the maturity aspect. You know, I get sick and tired of my people wanting to come up here and project criticism towards, I would say me, right? Those of you that know who you are, right? They project criticism towards me for not coming here and just sticking up for Devin Haney because he's black. And then I'm saying to myself, why don't they understand who they are? Like a lot of you motherfuckers out there are followers. You've never been in charge of shit. Never in your life. You've never been in charge. You never led from the front. You don't know what it takes to lead from the front. You don't know what sacrifices it takes. You don't even understand to hold yourself accountable to be a leader of anything. So now we have this realm. We have this collective group, is this large layer of social media that allows you to be a part of a movement that you don't even lead. You're not even in control of. So to sit up here and drop shit in my inbox talking about, well, what you said about Devin Haney, you should have just stuck with the brother. You should have just given him his just due. You know, we've spoken on that before. You've heard it before. I mentioned I've heard it before. I'm from the South. That doesn't mean I have to sit up here and agree in concurrence as if it's right. What was the reason? What was the influence for Devin Haney to say I'll never lose to a white boy? Just because of the channel he was on? Just because the segue, the media segue he was on? That's why he had to do it. He had to prove to somebody. That's what I'm saying. Goddamn maturity. Because look, I look at it this way. You're on a live with your father, two grown men, and no hesitation. You're not apprehensive about saying what you're about to say. It's so loosely accepted to the point where you had to get out and say you'll never lose to a white boy, even though you're not even close to fight Lomachenko. Like you was the one that was going after Ryan Garcia for a good minute. Ryan Garcia wasn't good enough because he ain't champion. So the only way that you believe you can get a fight with Vasily Lomachenko is to say you'll never lose to a white boy. It was poor judgment, man. It was fucking poor judgment. I'm not gonna lie. It was poor judgment, like I said before. And don't think I'm not gonna address my people. I'm gonna address y'all ass. Absolutely. You know, one thing about the digestive part of ignorance is that you have outlets on here that quote unquote say they support black fighters. They speak highly of black fighters. And if you listen in that interview, you have that particular interviewer talking about Teofimo Lopez that ain't black and talking about Vasily Lomachenko. Every fighter, the Devin Haney, that ain't black. That's not the way the motherfucking shit supposed to roll. You're supposed to have an etiquette about media. Just because you're a certain skin color, don't sit up here and act like, oh, well, as long as he's staying out the way and doing what he's supposed to do, he's good. No, you're supporting all these black fighters, but yet you bashing black media. That shit is so contradicting. Like you're not even making sense. You have people supporting you that's doing all this shit, and you're supposed to be the head of the game, but yet you're not controlling them from coming to other black channels and dropping negative comments. You know what I'm saying? Being malicious, trolling, and all that other shit. Y'all got to do better. You got to do better. You're not speaking to an uneducated Negro. You're not speaking to somebody who's actually fearful of the messengers that you got out here. I call them him, hers. You know what him, her is? Motherfuckers that's going around here patrolling like they men. They talking like they men just because they can say nigga every other motherfucking word, right? But in reality, behind the scenes, they ain't nothing but the help. These motherfuckers ain't nothing but bitches behind the scene. They're a part of a collective group to feel warm about themselves because they can't do it. They can't look in the mirror and feel good. No expectation, no disappointment. You got so many motherfucking him, hers in your collective group. They want to jump on somebody else's social media and try to talk shit about me, but just because I didn't go here and advocate for Devin Haney, I don't have anything against Devin Haney. Why every time black media got to speak on a black fighter, and it may not be all good words. These motherfuckers get butthurt. You get angry, agitated. You go around and tell other black fighters don't fuck with that media. You don't want to hear the motherfucking truth, but yet you can come up here and talk about another black fighter and say they are bombing shit. And you expect that's supposed to be something of encouragement, right? That's supposed to be encouragement. Like you sit up here and say, I'm supporting all black fighters. Oh, he ain't supporting you. He don't have all these good things to say about you. And as a black fighter, you're sitting up here listening to this shit, and you're not even making them grown man decisions, them grown woman decisions, the mature decisions to say, you know what, I can understand. This is not all black fighters, right? Let's be clear. You know, you get the point where somebody might analyze it and say, you know what, I understand where he's coming from. I get where he coming from. But since I'm up here, you know, clean shaven, proud military dude, I ain't up here using nigga every other sentence. You know, I ain't acting thuggish and shit. Maybe I don't care at 50 years old to perform as if I'm still in a juvenile state. Maybe what I have to my credibility is that of maturity and learning over a time. But what I know about people who supposedly support black fighters, and just because I'm not saying Devin Haney is right in calling out Vasily Lomachenko from where Vasily is from, Vasily ain't did shit to me. Devin ain't did shit to me. Each time I saw Devin and Bill, cool people. But I just felt his comments for what they are, because you have to be logical sometimes. You have to analyze that motherfucker. You can't come up here and be absolutely ignorant and expect your listeners to turn around and not say, you know what? Well, tell that black boy this. Tell that black boy this. If you take the same person that's tuning in to your media, your boxing channel, and say, well, guess what? Hey, tell that black boy he's a dumbass, he fucked up, he's uneducated, and that's why he in the sport of boxing. Tell that black boy that. Now, what do you think they're going to say? Because I can't sit up here and give my people that's black media bashing other black media, but yet they support black fighters, right? You support black fighters, but you bashing black media. Perky, what's good, man? What's going on, Torres Savage? Lumbros, what's good? Haney is with Matchroom. I know that. Thanks for telling me. I know they, you know, him and his dad said they signed with Matchroom to basically get some fights. You know, yeah, I pretty much understand who Haney signed with. If he was giving any advice, you know what I'm saying, from Matchroom to do that, then good luck. You know, you got your name out there. But Haney is not my problem. Haney is not a problem with me at all, because I've interviewed Haney twice. He cool people. But what I won't accept is the continuance, the recyclement of bullshit from black media, black people in general, my people. Because if you're trying to say another black man can't speak on another black person, then what the fuck are you doing? Why are you supporting black fighters all the time, but yet you criticizing black media that's not advocating strictly for black fighters? Nigga, I don't have to do what the fuck you tell me to do. I ain't no follower. I don't run in a pack of motherfucking cats. I ain't never been a pack runner. Y'all put a bad influence out here. You have people thinking if one black media support this particular fighter, then all black media associated with just supporting under that rim. That's what you want. That's the freaking energy that you're trying to present. You're trying to have other people believe that they're all a part of one association, and that's far from the truth. Torres say, Haney's smart. He's selling tickets. It's business, not personal. Absolutely. But with business, you know what I'm saying? With business, you have to make smart moves. You cannot sit up here and believe that people don't have listening ears to what's coming out your mouth. We all know that if you say the wrong thing, it fucks up business. We just seen it in NASCAR with Lawson. We just seen it with him. He's playing a video game and he dropped the N-word, right? And they fired him. Was he not in the business? Was he not performing at one of the most popular race car entities in the sport? Yes, he was, right? But he's on there playing a video game. He dropped the word. And they fired him. And that shit ain't going to be temporary. So him saying that word, and then for somebody to turn back around and say, you know, somebody fucked that black boy up, there's going to be a whole lot of people, the same people saying, you know what, see, they motherfucking racist. We can't sit up here and play the race card all the time. And then you want to criticize me because I'm not sitting up here acting like I'm 19 to 20 years old. Like I need to fit in if I only have papers. That's the dumbest shit ever. Motherfuckers will sit up here and try to characterize you like you need papers, like you should have did jail time already, like you need to be in prison to fit in. I know a lot of cats that did that. I know a lot of cats that's friends of mine, that's cool people, learned and understand what they should do right. But when you got motherfuckers believing that they should compare your past to what they've been through in order for them to accept you and treat you and respect you as a man, fuck them. Fuck them, man. You ain't got to show that respect. We got millions in the population, as big as boxing is annually. We have a group up here, supposedly, you know, to have motherfuckers visiting other channels just being negative. But yet this same group is supporting black fighters, black fighters, black fighters. That's the narrative. But you're criticizing black media. Pussy. Luma said B-Hop said the same thing. Yeah, B-Hop said the same thing. And then, you know, Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney had their little spat. Even freaking Mike Tyson had, you know, said the white boy comment when he was on stage and he was upset in the heat of the moment. It's not the first time it's being said. Look, it's the reason behind him saying it. It's not the first time we heard that white boy narrative. That's not the first time, but the reason for it that no one wants to talk about. What was the reason? Was it provoked? What was the influence? And is it going to give you any more steam to get where you're trying to be, saying you'll never lose to a white boy? Now, take it. We're in a pandemic, y'all. When is boxing going to start up? We know they just opened some beaches. So, you know, we might have boxing opening up periodically. It's not going to be in NYC, but we may have some combat sports starting to kick back up, right? The lights on, ring set up. We might have some, you know, a small group, especially on the regional level, starting to filter back in, right? All right. With that said, when do you think Devin Haney's going to get a fight with Vasily Lomachenko when we haven't even seen Teofimo Lopez on deck yet? If him and Lomachenko, if you listen to the interview I had with David McWhorter, right? And this is another thing I'm going to get at. What I'm hearing, what I was told, right? I'm speaking to an individual that's one of the top managers in the business of boxing. and he's Teofimo manager, right? So me having respect for this man in his position means I don't have to explain shit to nobody about it. But I'm going to do it just because of what I heard that was being said. So I get clean on him. You know what I'm saying? Get clean on him. Put the bow tie and goddamn blazer on and shit. Why? Because the first time I was able to be in the presence, this guy, David McWaters, showed me number hospitality. He ain't never met me a day in his life. Furthermore, allow me to get the press credentials. I was allowed to cover inside of a fight card, inside of boxing, on a fight card that had Sergey Kovalev and Lita Alvarez, a fight of that magnitude. Not only that, y'all, but also you had Oscar Valdez, and also you had Teofimo Lopez fighting Diego Magnolino. I had the opportunity to see how his dad, Lopez Jr., and Teofimo, the whole family, how everything operates, his team, Joe, Lee, all of them, how everybody freaking move as a unit. I was able to experience that all because he allowed me to get press credentials. No prior sign up, never met me a day in his life, right? So it's been so long that I said, you know what, out of respect, and it's only right for me to do that. I wasn't tap dancing for nobody. But I'd be damn, these Negroes don't come out the blue and start talking about somebody cooning. How can you say that? How can you even dare come out your mouth? And these are the same persons that say, look, these are the same people that say they support veterans, right? You know this. I never use support the veterans to raise my channel. I may talk about the military of recent about certain things, but you don't never see it in my description. Support the veterans. Support the veterans. You never see it. But I sit up here like it's the first time I dressed up on live, and I show the man respect because I respected what he was able to do. I respected what Lee was able to do for me. I respected the team, Joe and all them, for allowing me to see what's going on. Now, a future world champion, I can actually say, okay, I was able to cover Teofimo Lopez before he was world champion, and to see him grow into a world champion and get that belt. And you think I'm not going to show him respect? Why every time a black man have to show respect to somebody of a different race, we tap dance and we coon? What the fuck, y'all? That's why people treat us the way they do sometimes. They sit up here and step on our neck because it's shit we should know already. They saying, you know what? As a race, y'all can't even get along. So why the fuck you complaining? As a race, you can't get along. How can you support black fighters, but you bash black media? I don't get it. You support black fighters wholeheartedly, but yet you're thrashing and you're denigrating other black media. So you'll go around telling another black fighter, don't fuck with that black media because he just don't support boxing. He support MMA too. He just don't report on black fighters. Goddamn, give me a black fighter and I report on it. I have plenty of black fighters I reported on. I have plenty of white fighters I reported on. Mexican fighters. Look on my YouTube. That's all you got to do. But y'all motherfucking acting dumb. Y'all just sit up here acting like y'all competence at this point in time in 2020 is still stuck in a point of oppression. And y'all don't want to do nothing about it. The only way you feel you continue to sit up here and denigrate one another, like that's gonna freaking further whatever you got going on your agenda. Just all because I didn't sit up here and praise Devin Haney for saying what he said. Tori said maybe Haney. Then says salute Scotty. Why I was informing Torres he was with Matchroom. He thought he was with Top Rank. Okay, for sure. They got the double standard. That's why I think everyone make a buzz over it. I agree with you. As a man, we say what we want, we say what we mean, and mean what we say. There's accountability for what we say and do. Attitude is the way we think, which trips the way we act. I agree with you. Appreciate that, Lumbros. Perky, bow tie. Perky, after the interview to make water, I have a lot of respect for that guy. Everything boxing in the building, y'all. I'm gonna support whatever fight I want to. I don't care if it's purple, yellow, or green. I appreciate that. Everything boxing, man. Y'all be sure to follow that brother. Check out his content. But I'm not gonna pretend that these closet racists haven't been waiting for this reason, for something small like this to happen, so they can take it and blow it up to hate another black fighter. Now, I never said racism, and I totally get what you're saying. I never said racism is non-existent. I said just the opposite. Racism still exists, and there's people that's going to bloviate what he said because controversy sells, right? And check what I just said. Controversy sells. This is boxing. This ain't a reality show. You know, just like, hey, one thing I like, everything boxers say, this ain't reality TV. You're absolutely right. So when it comes to boxing, controversy sells, and it's not reality TV, but we speaking on a reality sport, right? You hear so many people that'll talk about this, and like you said, they may feel some type of way. There may be people that feel some type of way about blacks, but it may be also blacks feel that way about whites. But when you put a controversial narrative out there for no reason, like Devin Haney did not say this in response to Lomachenko. It's not like Lomachenko said this and somebody called it on audio, and Lomachenko was saying, you know what, I never lose to a black boy. And then Devin Haney jumped on social media and said, you know what, I never lose to a white boy. That would be different. That would be in response. Okay, I can see. Lomachenko threw the first blow and Devin Haney responded. I got it. But Devin Haney is still trying to earn his spot. He's still trying to become a respectable, not just a boxing elite, a superstar, but he's trying to establish his career as a multi-time world champion. You feel me? So if Lomachenko would have thrown the first jab and said some shit about black boy, then I would say, you know what? I can understand. Don't make it right, but I can understand where Devin Haney is coming from. And like I said before, it's not the first time I heard that shit. But appreciate those comments there, everything boxing. So what I'm saying about this situation in general, the way we're going to look at it, I can't have respect for someone not looking at any situation from both sides. Now, I can't tell you what to do. You grown ass people. I can't tell you what to fucking do. If you don't want to talk about both sides from a logical scale and balance that shit to your audience, then cool. Me, I'm going to do that. I got to speak on it with balance. And balance doesn't always entice viewership. You know what entices viewership? One-sidedness, ex parte. That's what entices viewership. If I would have jumped on here and went off and said, you know what? Fuck Lomachenko. He deserved that shit. This, that, and the other. And was just absolutely biased, disrespectful too, and supported his narrative. People would be tuned in and saying, okay, all right, that dude black. Motherfuckers, I don't need you to verify my blackness. I'm from the South. I'm from the South. And shit was easy for me growing up. My household was with two parents, strict ass parents, belt-toting, belt-wielding parents. No, I love you parents. Fighting every week type of damn school system. Nobody was born in influency. Motherfuckers, why are you worrying if I got damn facial hair or not? Why are you worried about what I'm wearing? Y'all sitting up here talking about somebody cooning just because I dressed up with a bow tie and shit and a blazer? Like you the one that'll show up to a formal meeting. Let me break this down right quick. If these motherfuckers are so into boxing and raising the sport of boxing, right? And they act like they ain't seen shit I done. Not just visiting fights on a regional level, but top tier fights, right? You never hear me out here talking shit. I go ahead and get my grind on when boxing was up and running, right? So I'm doing my shit. They ain't supporting me. They ain't doing shit. They ain't donating to the channel. They ain't doing shit. They're not doing a motherfucking thing. The people who I get interviews with is because I make the phone call. So I hear now I'm at a level where just say I got a certain amount of subscribers and people starting to tune in to World Combat Sports, right? And I tune in to other motherfuckers' channels too. Absolutely, I do. So I'm hearing these channels telling other fighters, don't fuck with World Combat Sports because I don't just cover boxing, I cover MMA. And then these motherfuckers up here saying, I really don't support black fighters, which is untrue. How the fuck you come up with that narrative? Because of the glasses and the low haircut? Nigga, you sound funny. You absolutely sound funny, man. You're trying to turn me into some that you hoping I am. Just because I don't come up here and act a certain way, you want to sit up here and portray me as such. Not giving me any credit for what I've done for boxing. But check this out. What influence do you have in the mainstream of boxing? How respected are you outside of social media? Can you just have that influence walking up to one of these promotions and getting along and having a rapport and having a dialogue with these people that's out here doing it? No, you're basically isolated to social media. So you have a whole lot of freaking followers and messengers, people that will never be in charge of anything. They're saying, hey, let me rep this. Let me rep this group right here. As long as I'm repping this group, it's somebody important. So what happened when my group get up there? What happened? You're talking about a group that really haven't even been really popping just over a year. You're talking about a group that's been up here for I don't know how long. But you got a whole lot of people that's going around to different groups trolling, not even talking about boxing, just being personal. How does a black media support black fighters, but knowing that you have individuals that's out here going over to other media outlets and bashing them and interrupting their live streams with negativity? How is that productive? How is that positive? And how does that fit into the black nomenclature of us raising one another up in this boxing community? How? I can tell you right here, I'm not really asking for your goddamn answer, but I do know, I see it. And all you pussies that's walking around here all wet, them him, hers, that's going around here taking orders. You don't even have a boxing channel. You don't know shit about the sport. You ain't doing nothing but going around taking orders, going around on other people's channel, trying to call hate and discontent. You're not even talking about the fucking sport. You mad because I didn't sit up here and just jump on the side of Devin Haney, which I have no ill will against, period. Everything boxers say, yeah, I think a lot of black fans hate Loma because he's white and won't give him credit just because of color. So I see it both ways, but a lot more coming from the other side. I can tell you, in a sport where there's a lot of black fighters and Mexican fighters, Hispanic fighters, right? And then you have some European fighters that's in the higher weight classes, you know what I'm saying? And people look up to. Okay, we get it, right? If you look at any live, I've never really been a Lomachenko fan, period. Had nothing to do with race. I just thought all the hype he was getting, I'm analyzing his record as a boxer. I just didn't see outside of his Olympic achievements. I really didn't see, just because he picked up a chip in 3 professional fights, I really didn't see him being extremely special for him to be considered in the names of Muhammad Ali and all those other fighters, right? But yet, you know, I have to bring into the equation Carissa Shields, who is also a double gold standard Olympian, right? And she has become 3 division in just 10 fights, fast as male or female, right? But they don't mention that. You can't just say it's because of gender. You can't sit up here and praise and put Lomachenko at the pound for pound list, but yet you got somebody who did it quicker and they're not on the pound for pound list. But yet you want to say it's because of opposition, but yet Lomachenko record, look at his opposition. You talk about Nicholas Waters, Victor Posel, Jorge Linares, Luke Campbell. That's who you talking about? Rigondeaux, who moved up 2 weight classes. That's supposed to be a resume 14-1. You want to exclude Salido, but yet you want to sit up here and say Moraga? I mean, how can you bolster somebody at the top pound for pound and don't move him? You refuse to move this guy from the pound for pound list. You refuse. After he went the distance with Luke Campbell, vacated the belt because potentially he may not have wanted to fight Devin Haney. We really don't know the details behind it. But this dude requested to be franchise champion, vacated the belt, never defended his WBC belt. We're talking about a guy who had WBA, WBO, and WBC. All he had to do is wait and fight Teofimo Lopez. If he's that good, keep the super titles, face Teofimo Lopez, and if you're victorious, you're the undisputed lightweight champion. But no, what he does, he requests to be franchise champion. So I'm supposed to respect that shit? Seriously. So don't get it motherfucking twisted that I won't talk about both sides, because I don't respect that. I truly don't respect Lomachenko vacating the WBC super title when he had a mandatory, when potentially we could have seen a very good fight between him and Devin Haney. But Lomachenko want to be franchise champion and then talk about moving back down to 130. And get the fuck out of here. Alex Ayala in the building. Hey, appreciate that everything boxing. Alex Ayala say, what's up, Scotty? Tune in for boxing talk. Fuck all that other BS. I don't care what you wear. I care what you talk about with boxing. You can cover what you want. Fuck them haters. Yeah, I hear you there, Alex. Say trollers don't know shit about boxing. They just saying what they hear from others who don't know shit. Everything boxing say, I know a coon when I see one, but I ain't never seen that from you at all. Who's saying that about you? I'm good, man. You know, it's all good. Look, my perspective, anybody who know me, the 2 times I ever went live on Facebook to address a motherfucker, it was on purpose. It was for a reason. That's it. I'm definitely not gonna sit up here and throw a fish hook out there and say, I'm complaining. I'm not gonna give them that shine. That's what they want. Right here, when you have all these messengers coming over to my shit, disrupting, being stupid, being childish. No, I want the head. I want the so-called leader, because I've been at the top of the chain for leadership. I retired for the military at 37 years old. I've been at the top of the food chain when it comes to leading troops. That has nothing to do with my audience. But I'm just saying, when you got people out here that want to validate themselves for somebody like myself and say, well, this nigga ain't shaved. I mean, this nigga shaved. He wears suits and bow ties. He wear glasses and shit. Don't forget the degree. I ain't going around here acting like a dumb motherfucker, but don't get it twisted, man. I'm from this A. Way back in the 70s. So when I hear motherfuckers talking behind my back and getting other fighters not to support the channel because I don't support strictly boxing, and within that, I'm not supporting black fighters. I support all the fighters that's out there for me to support. Anybody who look at my YouTube can understand that. But as much as I don't want to do it, you just have people that's not in the best interest. They hate us, man. They're trying to break down your channel before it even really get going. I'm not even at 10,000 subscribers yet. Just because I don't have a panel of voices that's up here talking like it's freaking Atlanta Housewives, motherfuckers don't want to tune in. Tay Jones say, bro, my perspectives change on this, bro. What you mean, Tay? And salute for dropping in there, Tay Jones. What's good, man? Hey, if you want to stop through, man, just tell me. I'll drop the link to you, man. Everything boxing say, yeah, that franchise champion stuff was hella weak on and made me look at Loma different. I totally agree. Everything boxing. That's what I'm saying. Like right now, we was hoping three divisions. We was hoping to see the heavyweight division come to a unification. But Anthony Joshua, we all know, cotton ball, confetti chin, Joshua. It's no way he was going to face Deontay when he had the WBC. So, he had to face Tyson Fury, right? And then second, welterweight division. We really want to see a potential unification with that division. The reason why I skipped cruiserweight with Alexander Usyk because really no one pays attention. It's a part of boxing, but we don't pay attention to the cruiserweight, okay? And then looking at the lightweight division. And once again, to itemize this shit correctly, we can go up here and look at all the heavy hitters that's in the lightweight division and how close we was looking to seeing that lightweight division unified. I mean, with some top tier names, y'all. Top tier names. We had Richard Comey as the IBF champion. Richard Comey is a legitimate fighter. Teofimo went up there and stopped him in 2 rounds. Now who we got? We have what we've been looking for. Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez for all the marbles. But guess what? Vasily Lomachenko couldn't even wait. Something's wrong with that. Just 32 years old, you couldn't wait to see who won between Richard Comey and Teofimo? Why in the fuck did you watch Canelo Alvarez get a franchise belt and then you say, oh, well, can I get that franchise too? With 15 fights? What the fuck are we talking about in boxing? Like, you 14-1, you want to be franchise champion for what? Are you trying to be great or you consider yourself great already and a legend of the sport with your resume and you feel like all the public is supporting you and pushing you and embracing everything about Lomachenko to the point where you can make a dumbass move like that? Become franchise champion without unifying the division. You was only a belt away from being undisputed lightweight if you can go over there and do it. You had a tough fight against Teofimo. He came off a real tough fight himself against the taller Japanese, right? And then he went in there and crushed Richard Comey. That was the fight. That was the fight we was looking for. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, you skipped over 140. I didn't skip over 140, man. Whenever they want to fight for the unification, you have 2 and 2. You have Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. Whenever they get around to fighting, cool. But really, no one's talking about the junior welterweight division. No one's really talking about that shit the way they're talking about this lightweight division, especially when Lomachenko had the WBC, WBA, and WBO. He has the freaking most coveted belt that you can have in the sanctioning bodies. He had the opportunity to finally become undisputed of the division. If you're going to say fuck Terrence Crawford for goddamn unifying the division, I mean, what you saying about Lomachenko for becoming franchise champion? Yeah, that franchise champion stuff was hella weak and made me look at him different. Alex say, the only time I respect a fighter for vacating a belt is when he can no longer hold his weight and has no choice to vacate but to vacate a belt because dipping and running from the mandatory, I have no respect for that. What the fuck is with the franchise belt as a fighter? I don't want shit handed to me, real talk. I can totally agree with you talking about, man. One thing we can say about the franchise belt, it wasn't earned, it was given. It wasn't earned. You didn't have to fight another opposition to earn the franchise belt. It was given. It came out of nowhere. And once again, here we go. The buffoonery that goes on. And I've spoken about this before. I said, if you're going to give the franchise belt to Canelo Alvarez, goddammit, you should have gave it to Deontay Wilder. You should have gave it to Deontay Wilder way before you gave it to Vasily Lomachenko. You should have gave the franchise belt to Gary Russell Jr. long before you gave it to Vasily Lomachenko. Don't make the excuse. Don't make the goddamn excuse. It depends on the weight classes that you've been fighting in and all this other shit. No, there's really no criteria to receiving the franchise belt. None whatsoever. None whatsoever, people. It's really no criteria. So how in the fuck Gary Russell and Wilder didn't get the franchise belt, but Vasily Lomachenko did? How did even Canelo become the first to do it? I know he's been making moves. Salute to him. But how was he selected? And then all of a sudden, you have a fighter out of nowhere. Can I become franchise belt, sir? Can y'all get on the phone? Call up Mauricio Suleiman. Can ask him, can I become franchise belt too? I mean, I need to be a franchise belt holder too. And then Suleiman said, okay, cool. Where is everything else to that? You know, where are we going to see some other WBC belt holders get that franchise belt? It's a pretty belt. And look what comes along with the belt, people. You can't lose it. You can't motherfucking lose the belt. It don't give a damn who you fight. You can't lose the belt, y'all. But yet, they said, if by chance you pick up the remaining sanctioning bodies, you are considered undisputed. So fuck the WBC super belt. Fuck that. If you franchise champion, all you need is the remaining sanctioning bodies and you undisputed. Even though no one can win that belt from that holder, but that holder can go out here and defeat every other champion and become the undisputed champion of that division without even having the WBC super belt. That's crazy. Everything boxing say big facts on that franchise BS. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It has no criteria. It has no standard operating procedures on how a fighter is supposed to, you know, even come close to being presented with that belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does someone name make the roster? How do they make the lineup? Perkins said, you think boxing needs to get rid of some of their weight classes? The weight classes isn't a problem. You know, with boxing, you have belts everywhere. That's the problem. And boxing is a global sport. So the weight classes is what they are. Now, of course, I'm going to be honest, cruiserweight, I'm not sure what cruiserweight is doing for the sport of boxing. You know, I know we've had some of our greats become champions at cruiserweight, okay? But I'm pretty sure everyone knows what divisions that we really pay close attention to, from the 118 bantamweight all the way up to 168, 175 every now and then, according to who's up there, who's fighting. Skip over cruiserweight and go straight to heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. Serious. That's just what it is. Hey, Sam Robinson in the building, man. Salute to you. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hopefully everything is good. Alex said, did you see when Teofimo said, fuck a franchise belt? I want the big belts. Give me Loma. Look, look, to answer your question, yeah. And also was there when Teofimo Lopez called Lomachenko a bitch, right? Teofimo Lopez, in a presser, called Lomachenko a bitch. He said, because he a bitch, right? Now, of course, internally, people probably took offense to that and said, you know, Teofimo, damn, you know, Lomachenko, you know, I don't know if that was a good idea. Did you hear people out here making a big deal, jumping online, talking about Teofimo racist, and he just jealous and all that shit? He called it as he's seen it. He said what he had to say. I get it. I get it. It's a universal term to degrade someone's, you know, it's just derogatory in any way, shape, or form, especially in combat sports, right? He said what he said. I respected him for trash talking, period. But when it comes to Devin Haney, I would have wanted him to have a point of reference. Who antagonized you enough to say I never lose? Never, never. When you say never, that means completely. Seal it off. You're never going to lose to a white boy. You're never going to lose to a white boy ever. And you're young in your career, Haney. You're 21 years old, bro. Never. Don't you know how many fighters are going to move up? Don't you know you're going to move up in weight class? And every single time you face an opponent that is white or neighboring fighter, whatever, European, they always going to bring that shit up. And if you take a L, you're going to be on the front headlines for the wrong goddamn reason. For the wrong reason. They love to see black on black. They love that shit. Look, it's okay for blacks to defend themselves. I never said that was a problem. But when I'm gathering, what I'm trying to present to you is the statement that you made about never, bruh. I would rather you allow Lomachenko to sit in the first round down range and you responded and you returned fire with what you said instead of you sending that down range unprovoked. That shit was unprovoked. I'm not saying that's the worst thing I ever fucking heard in boxing, but where you at in the sport right now, to all these sensitive people, they can just as well turn around and say, well, I hope that black boy lose. Somehow, some reason, some black audience don't like to hear black media or black person just balance the sides enough to the point where if he said white boy, then what happened when somebody say black boy? They getting fired. They getting released. They getting dropped by sponsors. Everything. They don't want to hear any logical point of reference. They just want to say, oh man, you goddamn, you cooning, man. You're a fucked up individual. He ain't real. Motherfucker, please. You don't dictate what I am in life. You ain't never helped me take a step in where the direction I was heading at all. A lot of these motherfuckers I'll never meet. And I'm going to tell you like this. To the person who dropped that shit in my inbox and talking about real G shit. If you ever decide to walk up on me and hold me accountable for something I can't account for, it ain't no cushion. Be careful about what you drop. I'm not worried about that shit. If you want to find me, I'm at regional fights and I'm wherever you choose. But if you want to try to hold me accountable for something I can't account for just because you're trolling and you want to talk about G-checking somebody for what? Social media? It ain't no cushion with me, bro. It's not going to be any cushion. I'm just letting you know. Type all you fucking want. Use your home keys accordingly. Perky say, what purpose of franchise belt if you lose it? What's the purpose, in my opinion, of giving someone the franchise belt if they can't lose it? You know what I'm saying? What's the purpose of giving it? What's the purpose of giving the belt, period? What is the purpose of the franchise belt? If it doesn't have a criteria for you to have the WBC belt, defend it like 5 or 10 times, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Everything boxing say, I think that just gives him the motivation for himself. I can't disagree with somebody else's thought process in light of, you know what I'm saying? I just feel I can motivate myself differently, especially in downtime. Like we're in downtime right now. And I totally get what you're saying. For him to motivate himself, get his name out here, because look, Devin Haney's name is out here. Black media enjoyed having this little piece to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I want to say boxing media, but most of what I see, black media is the one talking about what he said. But if you're going to sit up there and interview the man, at least have an understanding that you can't sit up here and throw Teofimo out there for criticism, and then throw Vasily Lomachenko out there for criticism. But yet you talking about every boxer running from Devin Haney. I understand. Look, I understand boxers going to have history together. They're going to have sparring and all that. I got a video where Devin Haney and Teofimo met up in Vegas, and they talked about the little sparring situation. I was there. I was there when they met up, not at the sparring session, but I was there. I get where they're coming from. You're going to have trash talking that goes on. But my point is, why criticize every other fighter that's not black just because of your audience? But yet you're up here bashing black media. I mean, how the fuck is that conducive? How is that being a union? So every black media that's not associated underneath that umbrella, they're the enemy. Then you've pretty much contradicting what you're doing in the sport. If you're supporting black fighters, but yeah, you're not supporting black media unless they underneath your umbrella or support what you do, you're confused. You're a very confused individual. And for those of you that's falling behind that shit, like you have a purpose in life, what are you doing? All the effort that you put in trolling other people's channels, you could have started your own channel. You could be out here covering boxing, going to the boxing events, and then really being an influence to the sport. But you're busy in here on the chat. That is your lifesaver. Every day you in the fucking live chat, you donate and give money and give money. But get your punk ass locked up. Give a call to that same person and say, hey, I supported your channel for 5 motherfucking years. Can you post my bail? It's 5 stacks. Let me see how that works. Let me know how that works. For those of you that's putting all that effort, let me know how that works. Because I really don't know what it's for. Like, do you get a stipend every month? Like, is food being put on your table during the COVID? Because I'm gonna tell you, if I had a channel that big and we was in a COVID crisis right now, I have to do something for the boxers. You know, I've donated to boxers. I don't put it out here online, but I've donated to boxers during this time. I just don't talk about it. But you think people are gonna show this channel more attention? No, they want to go to a channel that's all about the controversy. They always want to talk about racism all the time. People doing the black man wrong. Black fighters can't get nowhere in the sport. They want to hit the same motherfucker. Hey, somebody get on here with a blazer and a bow tie, I'm cooning. I'm supposed to be strictly about what they believe I should do. People that look like me. The fuck out of here, man. Alex say, I respect Teofimo Lopez, not just because I know him personally, but he could have gone the easy route and did the opposite. And look at him now in under 20 fights and already world champion. How many guys have over 40 fights and still never got the opportunity? Much respect to Tio and his dad. Salute to that. Salute to that. Salute to that. You know why I salute that comment? And it's been some damn good input on the live chat. And appreciate everyone that's in the live chat today, and those of you that's tuning in from Facebook. What Alex Ayala just said, right? And I never even met Alex Ayala, but on Facebook interaction and so forth. Let me talk about what he just said. Done Dot in the building. Salute to you, man. Wrench game up. He said, thanks so much for keeping 100 facts about combat sports. Salute, fam. I appreciate that, Don Dada. What I can say, what people don't want to hear, right? You look at my YouTube, and they don't want to respect the fact of the people who I've interviewed, right? So the time that I had the opportunity to reach out to Teofimo Lopez on that day, I'm talking about several occasions where I've been at the fights with Tio. His dad, who they say have a loud mouth, one of the coolest people you'll meet. He'll talk to you. He'll goddamn tell you that shit straight down the middle. Straight. Man, I said this shit before he became world champion. So you can't sit up here and say I'm just co-signing because he's world champion. His dad's coolest person, do an interview, anything. Teofimo, the same way. He would talk that boxing to you. He would tell you straight up what his intention is. You know what's even more crazy? His team. Solid team around him. Solid team around him. And the reason why I say this to say this, right, is that sometimes I've been out here in public and approached people that's my shade, my people, and I get a fucking hard time some of the time from people who I got mad respect for them being in the sport of boxing. Teofimo Lopez never, ever, no matter what people say about his father being outspoken, never disrespect. He would sit there and talk about his son and praise his son, all that shit. And that was before he picked up the title. But what he was saying was that his son is going to be a world champion. His son is going to be a world champion. But then when you hear Devin Haney in the interview, Devin Haney said what? Teofimo didn't want to fight for the WBC title. He said he was going to go over here and fight Richard Comey for the IBF, as to say that he wasn't confident enough to come over there and fight for the WBC. So Teofimo went and fought Richard Comey. A world championship is a world championship, right? You can't sit up here and say, well, Canelo Alvarez went up there and fought Rocky Fielding. Was Rocky Fielding one of the best champions at the time? But we can give him respect for Sergey Kovalev now. He did go up there and fight Sergey Kovalev, which was legit. A person who won his belt back from Alida Alvarez and then stopped Anthony Yard. We can give him respect. But isn't the selection process for these fighters? Don't you supposed to pick and choose? Don't you supposed to raise yourself up? When Gervonta Davis stepped up to 135 and fought for the WBA regular title, he fought Gamboa, right? Did he fight one of the main champions at 135? One of the super champions? No. He was able to slide in there and fight for a WBA regular. He's a three-time champion. So I get what Alex is saying, because every time I've ran into Teofimo Lopez, his father, his team, good people. That's real talk. And not only that, the time that I was in Frisco, Texas, and I had the opportunity to have dinner with the team, and I'm chilling. I'm not in their face. I'm not even at the table with the team. I'm by the team. Still cool people. So I got respect. I got mad respect for Teofimo Lopez. He's a good dude, and he's going to do big things in boxing. Just like I ran into Joshua Greer. Of all people, Joshua Greer, from his freaking upbringing and everything else, one of the first fighters to show love, first fighters to support World Combat Sports without even me telling him anything. Joshua Greer from Chicago. Salute to Joshua Greer, don't blink. Real talk, respect. Got nothing but respect. He came up. He showed how the game is supposed to be. He took his bumps and bruises. He's back in Chicago training, man. He's one of the most technically skilled fighters in the sport, man. I never once told that guy to give a shout out to World Combat Sports or nothing. He did it on his own, and I respect that. Every time we in public, he's gave me 2 interviews while I seen him in public. Much respect, man. Everything boxing said, I try to support all my people until I see them on some real cool stuff, and all we know what that is. Hey, we do that. I absolutely agree. We know what cooning is. It's a very insensitive word. It is. When a black person is considered to be cooning, it's very disrespectful. But don't sit up here and you hear people saying all the time how they support freaking service members and all that shit, right? And for a person who don't even mention that shit, I don't even mention my career. But yet and still, I don't respect motherfuckers that act like I never did anything in life as if I'm stupid. And then they get up here, a motherfucker don't have a beard. He got low hair. He look like a square. Motherfucker, you don't have a clue what I heard. Don't forget I got a degree too, motherfucker. I mean, come on, man. You want people to look, these people want you to praise and idolize them while they tear down other black people that's doing the same thing they are. It's not one person that can say I hopped on their channel and I'm being disrespectful. I'll give respect and I'll say a salute to the channel. I'll drop in, drop out, or whatever. But if the only time you dropped on my channel was to defend another person that you support, and you ain't never defended my channel, you ain't never defended my channel. But I got motherfuckers from your group telling boxers not to fuck with me. How is that helping raise black people if we doing the same thing? You ain't donating to my channel. You ain't doing shit. But you got something to say about it. You ain't helped me roll an article. You ain't helped me pay for my website. You ain't helped me pay for my damn trademark. You ain't helped me pay for shit. But yet you over there taking donations and doing what the fuck you're doing, and you got members trolling around and shit. You think as a man I'm not supposed to speak up when you got motherfuckers showing up on my landscape? Yeah, I'm supposed to speak up. But I hear what you're saying, everything boxing. Tori Sarah Teal, the real deal. So is Errol Spence, the truth. Alex said, shout out to Tori Savage too. Tori Savage is one of those guys who've been around World Combat Sports before I even started my channel. So salute to you, man. Alex said, Teofimo was smart for going after Loma. That victory put him top dog. Teofimo beating Haney wouldn't put him on top, so why take that fight? Once again, they might not want to hear this, but Teofimo beating Haney wouldn't put him on top. So why take the fight? It's a business. So when Teofimo beat Loma, now he would be the king on the chessboard, on the chess game. Team Lopez know what they are doing. And people have to understand how Floyd went about his career, how Floyd was able to maneuver through his career, and he did it very, very well. I see all my people talking about how Floyd can't read, and they want to make memes about how Floyd can't read, how uneducated he is, how this, that, and the other. This is the same black fight fans, right? That's always talking about black this, black that. But time you hear something hit the media conveyor belt, and they did that freaking edit about Floyd saying, I'm the greatest of all time, G-A-O-T. And as dumb as they want to be, they couldn't tell that shit was edited. Why are you busy worried about a person's educational level when he was able to be a genius at what he does? One of the best defensive, technically skilled strikers in the sport that we've seen, Floyd Money Mayweather, the man who was able to get a 2-division 0-0 mixed martial artist to come over here and convince you all who paid that $100 that believed Conor McGregor could give Floyd Mayweather his first loss. You all thought that a 0-0 mixed martial artist in the sport of boxing could come over here, split the ropes, and defeat Floyd Mayweather? But look how Floyd Mayweather maneuvered through his career, how he selectively picked and chose who to fight. What he was able to do with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez was one of those guys that they knew for a fact that was set to go in there and give Floyd his first L. And Floyd made that guy look YMCA-ish, look novice, look like he was straight out the AMS. He gave Canelo Alvarez a boxing freaking clinic. So why sit up here and complain? Boxing has always been a sport where you have to make sure you make the right decisions, because taking an L too early in your career, in some cases can set you back, man. Seriously. It can set you back. And we see it. We're seeing it right now. But getting back to the lightweight division, Teofimo Lopez, 15-0. Vasily Lomachenko, 14-1. Still, Vasily Lomachenko with his Olympic amateur pedigree People ignore the fact that he has one loss and they still put him atop. When you look at his resume, it's not even the top freaking, like, come on, man. Jorge Linares, it's not like he didn't have losses. Gervonta Davis stops Victor Postal, but Vasily Lomachenko go the distance with him, and y'all not talking about this shit? Y'all not talking about that, though. Who was Luke Campbell before Vasily Lomachenko fought him for the vacated WBC title? Who was Luke Campbell? An Olympian no one knew about, right? So he goes in there and he defeats Luke Campbell. And then vacates the belt? Motherfucker, all you had to do was wait. You're proving my point that I've been saying about Vasily for the longest of time, just like I said about Gennady Golovkin. When everybody was hyping his ass up, and then Daniel Jacobs went the distance and stopped this 23-fight win streak or something like that, knockout streak. He had all those knockouts. And then people start realizing, well, if you put a boxer in front of Gennady Golovkin, bah, that's what it is. That's what you're going to get. And then you take Vasily Lomachenko. He vacates the belt and gets the franchise. And here comes Luke Campbell again, wanting to fight for the damn WBC again. He lost to Vasily. Now he wants to get back in the ring again and fight, potentially with Javier Fortuna. Devin Haney gets injured. And then there's this other insertion, for whatever we want to call it. They put him on recess. We never heard of that recess shit before. Now, I'm having an interview with David McWard, and he's telling me what? If Teofimo Lopez fight Lomachenko, more than likely it's going to be a WBC belt included in the motherfucking equation. So guess what? That WBC belt, if it's in the equation, that means it's vacated. I don't care what this ranking system says. How can a WBC belt be in the equation? If Devin Haney's supposed to be. Something ain't right. They just don't have collateral belts just sitting out here now. If you're not fighting for the franchise belt and you're saying that the WBC is out there, WBA and WBO, which Vasily holds already, and then Teofimo has the IBF, we're going for the undisputed, man. That's for all the marbles, man, at lightweight. Teofimo, of course, I have him going in there defeating Vasily Lomachenko. Teofimo going here, unify division, and then moves up to 140. Bye-bye. Go and do bigger and better things. Don't defend nothing. You unify the division, vacate the belts, go up to 140, and continue to establish and cement your legacy. Fuck it. Alex said, there you go, Scotty White. You hit the nail on the head. And Lopez team doing the same like Floyd. When you're the man on top, you maneuver your career smart moves, billions. Yeah, I agree, man. You know, people have to understand there's certain fights that they want because they favor the fighter. They favor the fighter. I want this fighter. And it may not always be in the best interest of the fighter. But you got fans out here say, well, I want so-and-so to fight him. Because they want to see him lose. You know what I'm saying? Not every fight fans is on board in the spirit of boxing to say, I want to see that person fight that person because it's a good fight. Most of the time, they see a little bit of talent and they say, well, hey, so-and-so, I want him to fight him. Like, it's a lot of people that paid to see Floyd Mayweather lose. You've heard it before. It's a lot of people that paid to see Floyd Mayweather take a L. That's why Floyd was able to become so rich off his performances, who he was able to fight, and his demand to be paid for his value, his worth. And he did it famously. Floyd Mayweather did it famously, period. So why not other fighters should take that same consideration and make sure that they selectively position themselves correctly to make as much money as they possibly can. Because as we know it, boxing does not have a retirement plan, people. Boxing does not have a retirement plan. You have to make the most money as you possibly can and get out the sport. The money that you make, it has to come with productivity. You keep producing, you keep going up the ladder, the more money you make, the more exposure you get. And then you're able to set your family up for life and you're good to go. Because the fans that was there with you doing your career, I guarantee you can't call up a fan and say, hey, I'm short on rent. Is there any way you can give me like $3,000? And then that fan gonna be like, aren't you Teofimo Lopez? Nah, you got more money than I got. No, I used to. They're not gonna show you that love that you're looking for, man. Your career is over. They're gonna say, nah, you should have did better with your money. So that's why I encourage all fighters, to get as much money as you possibly can, man. Fight for your worth. Why not? People talk like Loma don't get hit. Miguel Moraga, Jorge Linares, even Luke Campbell. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait for it to happen because when Teofimo cracks Loma, you hear him from me straight up, Loma not getting up. Look back at all Loma fights and you see he is a sucker for the right hand. Well, Lopez power hand, that right hand. I say KO by right hand, Scotty. To be the best, you have to fight the best. And I totally agree, man. I'm looking forward to that fight myself. I'm looking forward to seeing this epic matchup. Rising star. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a solid fight. It's a solid fight, man. But when it comes down to it, people, me and you gonna have to make a little bet on Teofimo. Absolutely. Let me know, bro. Absolutely, we can do that. We can do it by rounds too if you want to make a side. You know how you betting and talk who got the heart, who got the man. We can do that. Absolutely, man. We can lock it in, man. We can lock it in. I think Loma's gonna get stopped. I said this before. I think Teofimo can stop Lomachenko in the 9th or 10th round. I do. I truly believe that. High tech will be low tech after that fight. All right, for sure. We locked in for that. Now all we need is the date for when this damn pandemic lift, and we can kind of get jumping on some of the good fights that's in store. But yeah, for sure, man. I'm just gonna end it with this with the Devin Haney. I said what I said, and really, you don't have to ask permission. Like, people want to talk about First Amendment, right? Someone said, "Oh, it's the First Amendment." Yeah, we totally agree it's the First Amendment. He said what he said. Okay, cool. But then the same people who saying First Amendment, they're not analyzing it any deeper as to what if it was a smart business move, or was it smart? Was it smart for Devin Haney to drop the comment now, though? I know we got freedom of speech, but was it smart for him to drop it now? That's all I'm saying. Was it smart for him to do it when nothing's going on? He's not even close to coming up on a fight yet. We don't even know when the first boxing match is going to resume. We don't know any of that shit. So right now, we're talking about his words, and that shit's going to die down. It's going to die down. Real talk. It's going to die down. It's going to filter out because there's no more to talk about. There's no more to talk about. And I would just suggest this to the fighters. Sometimes fighters say this, well, you're not stepping in the ring. You're right. You're absolutely right. But if you understand my position as media, right? You have to understand what criticism. So if you allow somebody to interview you, talk to them right there and tell them what you don't agree with. Just don't stay behind the scenes and act like we both ain't grown men. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Have a little bit more stronger exterior. You in the hurt business. You in combat sports. We got to get out of the habit of saying so-and-so don't know shit about boxing because they ain't boxing. That would be so many things in life that people talk about but never experience. Just because I haven't fought professionally doesn't mean I haven't stepped in the ring. If you look at my lives, that I know for a fact. But I would just hope that it would come a point in time that what I'm hearing out here from certain fighters, black fighters, or the black media that's talking to these fighters, if a black fighter is persuaded not to speak to a certain media that they never really dealt with and seen that, like it's two sides to every story. If I hear something about somebody, I got to hear it from them. I got to really understand where they're coming from. Don't just take one side story and sitting up here saying, well, don't fuck with that media. And then that fighter goes and do it. Like, come on, man, you're a grown fucking man. You in a business where you have to make changes in the ring. You have to make motherfucking changes. And it takes one person to sit up here and say, nah, man, don't fuck with him. And you do it? You motherfucking do it that easy? Black media telling other black fighters don't fuck with certain media when fighters need exposure? Man, we can do better than that shit, dog. Seriously. Everything boxers say, but it's going to make other races hate him and now pay to see him lose. True. I agree with that. So negative publicity in boxing equals dollars a lot of time. I agree with both those narratives. I agree with both sides of that narrative. Both sides. But nothing's going on right now. Nothing is going on right now for him to keep the damn fire lit, to keep the burners hot. This shit is going to die down. And Devin Haney probably won't fight Lomachenko to 2021 even. I would rather him use the rounds. In the Marine Corps, we say one shot, one kill. You make sure that you use that round effectively. You just don't go up here shooting up in the air. It ain't no warning shots. One shot, one kill. Devin Haney should have fired that off if he was going to do it sometime later, if that's what he chose to do. Not now. Not because you're in the presence of your father. You know what I'm saying? And once again, another person I've dealt with, Bill Haney. Nothing but respect for him. I know people say what they say about him, but I ain't never had a bad situation with Bill Haney in person. Never. Never. I interviewed him twice already. Never had a bad situation with him or Devin. Period. And this ain't freaking personal. This is just part of media, man. Like you have to have some cojones that go up here and talk both sides. The yin and the yang. You have to give the pluses and minuses. People will sit up here and try to bash all black media, but you ain't calling up ESPN when you hear Stephen A. Smith say something. When they see Stephen A. Smith in person at a fight, these motherfuckers running up to him trying to get a picture and an autograph with him. But when he's in there dogging people, he's dogging black athletes, right? I don't see people getting on the phone call trying to have Stephen A. head. You know why he's where he's at? Because he does what he does. He's knowledgeable, and he talk on a plethora of freaking genres of professional sports, and he provides you constructive criticism. And sometimes people might look at his criticism as overly biased. It depends on who he's talking about. I made the mention on how he embraced Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua was on the phone in ESPN talking about a potential fight with Deontay Wilder, and he said he was the best heavyweight. That was Stephen A. Smith. And then when Deontay Wilder was on there, he didn't show that much energy. He didn't show the same amount of energy to first time Deontay Wilder was on there. That's just my opinion. Like you take a neighboring fighter and say he the best heavyweight, which he hasn't been proven yet, and they're going off of old Vladimir Klitschko who had been out the sport, but yet you got a American fighter who's been over here fighting and been reigning as long as he has, and these two is trying to link up in a contractual negotiation that Eddie Hearns continued to just put in the toilet, dangle the carrot, and play games about. Y'all have to look at that. Don't bash the up and rising media. Help them grow. If you're a leader, stop having your people represent you in such poor fashion. You know what I'm saying? Stop it. I know a lot of people want to be underneath that umbrella, but you can do your own shit though. Like everything boxing. He doing his own shit. He has his own way of doing things. Lion Killer has his own way of doing his media. There's a lot of media outlets that do it their way. But in order for, I'm getting the impression that sometimes people believe in order for black media to be accepted, they have to have an attachment to a certain group of individuals that's been out here for a while. Nah, that's not the case. I'm a grown ass fucking man. I don't have to ask for permission to be that. Alex said that can be a career killer for Haney. That's the fast way to lose sponsorship, brother. Now Hopkins did say it out when he was already on the way out of the sport. Well, he has some fights, you know what I'm saying? And the one thing that I'm saying about timing, okay? We all know about timing and power. We all know how that correlates to boxing, right? I just believe the timing will also have an effect on the impact for what Devin Haney was trying to get across in his statement. The reason why I say that because Bernard Hopkins, he said it to his face. Bernard Hopkins said it to his face. That what made it that much impactful is the fact that he said it to his face, all the cameras rolling, all over the headlines, and the fighter was right there. And look what happened. He went in there and lost. Does that take Bernard Hopkins out the Hall of Fame? No, it does not. Does it take anything away from Bernard Hopkins' career? Absolutely not. It does not. This too shall pass. But all I'm saying is Devin Haney could have used better judgment and timing on saying that about he'll never lose to a white boy. He could have just left it for another day if that's what his intent. I know, they're probably saying, man, nigga, shut up, man. You don't tell me when to talk. I say when okay, cool. Say what you want to say. But I'm just saying, we're in a pandemic right now, and give it a week or so, no one's going to be talking about this. No one is going to be talking about Devin Haney saying this shit until you get in line to face another white opposition, another white fighter, European fighter, however you want to claim it. And people are going to bring this shit up just like it was yesterday. And if it's a tough one, if you ever step in there with Vasily Lomachenko, they're going to always bring this up. Period. They're going to bring it up. Lumbro say, who is Devin Handler? I can say his team, and who I've seen him with most of the time is his father, Bill Haney. Bill Haney's been with him since the test of time. You rarely see father-son teams. But like I said before, they're not tyros to the sport. They've been in boxing for a long ass time. There's a lot of history between them Haneys. That's why he's at where he's at now. Serious. But you want to talk about anything, who's a part of his team and all this and all that. His dad been with him forever. Forever. So that's the only thing I can tell you about that. I haven't been able to get an in-depth interview and all this other stuff, but you see Devin, you see his father. Alex say Haney should have just waited until the winter, and he would have had a bigger payday, because when Teofimo beats Loma, that fight between Haney and Loma won't bring Haney a bigger payday. I like Haney, and that won't change because of what he said, because I understand what he was trying to do, but that shit will backfire on him. If we say in one sentence, Alex, that is good for the sport of boxing is trash talk, then I can only say this. It's not going to lose some sponsors. It's not. It's not going to lose some sponsors. We can look at, I don't even want to use that analogy because I don't want motherfuckers goddamn thinking about something posthumously. Why I brought up his name, Kobe Bryant name, in this particular scenario. But I will pass on that. I was going to make an example of how sponsors stick with you. If they really believe in you, and sponsors like, I'll stick with you, it's not going to do anything to me. They can protest all they want. If they believe you, something like this with Devin Haney words, it's not going to get him put out of boxing, because the beauty of the sport of boxing is the entry point. The entry point has a turnstile with no prerequisites. It doesn't require a fighter to have an education. It doesn't require you to have college credits. It doesn't require you to have fought a certain amount of amateur fights. That is the beautiful nightmare of boxing, because it allows you to make a living, come into the sport, train, remediate, go in there, perform, display your skills. And if by chance you are that fighter that has the potential to be great, you can go on and do some amazing things in life. I'm talking about you can be fresh out of jail and start boxing. You can be fresh out of jail, people, and start boxing. We have felons in here. We have people with extensive records who will go on to be great in the sport of boxing. So you cannot sit up here and say boxing is a dumb man's sport. That boxer has to go split the ropes and make decisions in the art of combat. And that, my friends, requires some type of genius. That, my friends, requires heart, courage, and everything else to go along with it, period. You have to have some confidence. You have to have a sense of fearlessness about you to step through the ropes and get punched with 8 to 10 ounce gloves. You have to go through the sparring sessions. You have to put in the work. It's a tough sport. It's a grinding sport. It's the best combat sport in the world, period. Period. You have to take that in consideration. The sport has no prerequisites. It allows anybody and everybody to come in here and do what they have to do. You can be fresh out the square, right into the damn gym, start training, and start making a living. Not everybody is that prize fighter. Some fighters, as you've seen, they basically go in the sport just to make a check. Some fighters, they go in here to be great. Some fighters are in the sport and their intentions were to be great, but along the way, they found like they wasn't great fighters. So they end up taking multiple losses, and they did what they had to do with the sport, make as much money, and then they get out. Luna said, thank you, Scotty. Alex said, good move, pass on that. Luna said, you could use AB as an example. True. But my whole point was sponsorship. AB, when we're talking about AB, sponsorship wouldn't be anything. And then, mentioning that, like, just like I said, boxing doesn't have prerequisites. Also, you look at how boxers get in trouble, right? Not just AB, all right? Boxers in general. We can look at Sergey Kovalev, who went down from the Mexican views. We can look at Billy Joe Saunders. We can look at Javante. We can look at AB. We can look at the whole spectrum of fighters, whole collective group that's been out here, even Floyd Mayweather, right? Boxing allows you to a certain point to continue to have a job. Come on, man. Boxing allows you to be locked up and still return to the sport. You can't love the sport? Come on, man. You can't love this. Like, you can't respect the fighters enough to know what a jungle and a Serengeti you in. Like, this is a Serengeti, man. This is a Serengeti of sports, man. You can get locked up on the job, do some time, come back out, get your license, get back in the gym, get your license, and get back in the ring. We've seen it. We've seen it. Tyson was able to do it, man. As much as I don't like, use it, Tyson was able to do it, y'all. Tyson went to prison for rape, y'all. It don't matter if he did or not. I'm just saying, he was accused and convicted, and then came back out and still made millions. What sport does that? I don't even think if you look at, I'm only making an assumption, but if you look at the UFC, right? And Bellator and PFL and all them other organizations out there, but you take the UFC and have someone do what Tyson did, I don't think they'd be allowed back in the UFC to fight if it was for rape. I don't see it. That's how open-ended boxing is, man. I don't see them coming back to fight. Like, I know John Jones has gotten in trouble for hit and run, PEDs, DWI twice, and all that shit. But if it's anything other than that, domestic abuse, I think it may be a different circumstances for those fighters returning back to mixed martial arts. But when it comes to boxing, we already seen it before, y'all. We seen Sergey Kovalev in a domestic situation where he's supposed to did this, that, and the other. He still fought. He still fought. Gervonta Davis incident. We seen it up close and personal. We seen it happen, play out in front of our eyes. That's not going to affect him boxing. That doesn't affect him stepping back in the ring. Any combat sport, you can expect in one way or another, some fighters will have domestic problems. They speak about Sugar Ray Robinson, who used to smack the shit and beat the shit out of his wife. You know what I'm saying? When you have a combat sport, it's tough, and you're getting pumped upside the head over and over again in sparring and in the ring. It's just not going to be right. It's not meant to be. So there may be some domestic issues that's going on. But my whole point is boxing allows people to make a living. It's just all about how that person goes about making that living, how well they're able to do it while they're at the peak of their career, whatever, in the process of growing and at the peak. And then what they do with their money. M. Gray 64, what's good, man? Salute to the chat. Sports 101. Salute to you, Sports 101. Alex said, that's why I respect you, Scotty, because you're not biased between races. I have no respect for anyone who uses the race card, even my own people. I know plenty of my Puerto Rican who are fucking racist, and I don't fuck with them because at the end of the day, we have black blood in this also. And if any of my people read this post and don't like it, fuck them too. All right. Say it with your chest then, Alex. I hear you, man. I hear you. Alex say shit, Hopkins came out the pen and look and yeah, and took world champion. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. Boxing has a solid open gate for people to be remediated, physically remediated, mentally remediated over and over again to learn a skill set. And in so many ways, a trade, okay, a combat trade, and allow you to go in there and compete to earn a living doing that trade. But this is one of the toughest trades in the world. Not anybody can just make it to the highest level, remain undefeated, and can be considered one of the greatest to ever do it. That's just tough. But you know, it just comes to a point, man. I guess I'm like this, right? From what I experienced in life and shit, we don't even talk about like what I experienced in life and to what people may see me like, you know, wearing a striped polo shirt, glasses and shit. You know, you have very judgmental people that's in life this day and time, right? So a lot of things I look at as very tough for me in the military, I'm looking at certain things on how people should gauge certain situations. So when I'm reaching out to fighters and I'm seeing certain things and I'm seeing this social media thing, I'm like, man, it's just too petty, man. It's not even productive to the sport. Like, I really want to cover greatness. You're talking about going to a regional card, taking over 5,000 pictures of fighters, and maybe even 10 good pictures of that fighter. But yet people get on here and dog you out and say you're not doing shit when they ain't going to fight. They're not even showing up the fighters. They're not even showing up the regional cards, y'all. They only talk about the top tier cards. You're talking about somebody who's been to the regional cards, snapped fight cards, of regional fighters that's not even known on this level, went to amateur cards, did shit pro bono some of the time, and went to the top tier cards and did what I had to do. And then you have motherfuckers talking about don't support them. I just think that's ultimately the most selfish thing that a person can say, man. Like, that's selfish. And if that fighter believes that, I don't have anything else to say except fuck it, man. I'm not going to sit up here and plea and beg with somebody to look at the work I put in, driving to places over and over again on my own dime, buckling down, doing a whole fight weekend, coming home, editing videos and pictures. While some of these motherfuckers don't even get out the house to cover a card. They won't even give the love to a regional fighter. They won't even go to the grassroots of boxing and cover a fighter with a 2-0 record. They won't even cover a fighter that's a 1-0 fighter. They won't even do it. But you had audacity to get on here and talk shit about World Combat Sports like I ain't did shit. I did more shit in my short period of time than you did in your whole damn time on this motherfucker. You might have had some interviews with some big people, some big names. But as far as work on the grind in the trenches, you can't sit up here and say I ain't did shit, man. I learned how to operate a camera on my own, show support to these grassroots fighters, man, show love to them, because them may potentially be some of the superstars in the future. Drive up to some of these damn regional fight cards, support the promotion, learn about other fighters. But yeah, the motherfucker want to say I'm cooning. Just because we was in a pandemic. Motherfucker, you have no clue you don't have no idea where I've been in life, man. I've been all over the world, man. Had to goddamn be in some very bad situations. And just because you see me on here covering boxing and MMA, you mad because I'm just not a boxing channel. Call off your bitches. Tell them hoes to stay on their lane, stay on the block. And make sure they listen to what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? Keep your hoes in check. And, just teach them better. Because they out here being disrespectful and misbehaving. You know what I'm saying? Just keep them where they belong. That's all I'm asking. Don't have them hoes come over here and be on the channel and they ain't talking about boxing. They just want to come over here and do dumb shit. And I know Don Dada, you haven't had the damn be active today. So I gotta throw a salute out there to my wrenches. You know what I'm saying? M. Greg, Don Dada, Perky. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the wrenches in the house. Yeah, that's what it is, man. What else we have to talk about in boxing? I already went over the stuff with Terrence Crawford the other day. Very good article from ESPN. I already talked about that. But what I'm curious about is, do y'all want to see Keith Thurman and Terrence Crawford? Because that's a name that's out there Like, look, I understand where Terrence Crawford is coming from when he wants to fight the big money fights right now. I get where he's coming from, right? But this what I'm getting at. I was really hoping that Terrence Crawford can potentially get a fight with Manny Pacquiao because he has the belt, right? But out of Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, being that Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford are friends, would you want to see Keith Thurman come back after taking one loss and see him get in there with Terrence Crawford? Would you want to see that fight? Is there something that interests you, Terrence Crawford and Keith Thurman? And will it pique the interest of fans to pay for the fight? Keith Thurman losing to Manny Pacquiao, a much older fighter, basically fucking off his belt, for him to come back and face Terrence Crawford. Will that give Terrence Crawford a little bit more notoriety with the boxing fans as a marquee fighter? Because I understand what Terrence Crawford is getting at. He's not going to sell his soul, act the way other people want him to act and all this other shit. He's going to do what the fuck he want to do, when he want to do it, how he want to do it. So if he was to face Keith Thurman, would the fans respect him a little bit more for his resume? If Keith Thurman with one loss come in there and face Terrence Crawford? Is that a fight y'all want to see? Well, I appreciate that comment there, Alex. Appreciate that, man. Alex says, Scotty White, hands down, I got to give you credit because you go out of your way to interview fighters and it all comes down to your pocket. So fuck them haters, support who you like, brother. Just please don't cover fake ass wrestling and we good. I got you, man. I really don't cover World Wrestling Entertainment, but Alex, I have to hold true. I have to hold true. Wrestling Entertainment is near and dear to my heart. Listen, believe me when I tell you, I grew up on Wrestling Entertainment, a portion of it, right? While I was covering combat sports. And I got to know some wrestlers, especially some in Japan. Listen, regardless if you know, we both know, Alex, that the wrestling is choreographed and they have a pre-assigned finish to whoever's going to win. Okay, we understand that. But another thing I can tell you is this right here from what I seen when I was overseas, when I was covering freaking Pride, when I was covering K1, when I knew all those Wrestling Entertainment and those freaking mixed martial artists and kickboxing Grand Prix competitors and all that. World wrestling is a tough sport to train in. I mean, Japanese Wrestling Entertainment is much worse than US. Like those Japanese, the shit that they do off the top rope, hitting each other with chairs, freaking barbed wire matches, using glass, slamming people on their motherfucker, hitting them with wood. That shit is crucial, man. I know it's one of those fights, but if you ever watch a wrestling match overseas in Japan, you'll say to yourself, damn, my perspective on the sport is a little bit different. If you watched it over here in the US, I grew up off the Four Horsemen. I grew up off Tully, Ole, Arn, Lex Luger. I grew up off Ric Flair. That shit ain't as easy as you think, man. Some people get black eyes. Man, that shit is tough, man. No way in shape I'm comparing to boxing, okay? But I'm saying training-wise, that shit is the truth. Seriously. Another thing, you can take some of the wrestlers that's in the ring, and they will go out here and wash an average person. Some of them really know how to truly fight, and some of them don't. All right, I'm gonna leave it on that. Gene Anderson, Terry Funk, yep. You know, Jake the Snake. Mick Foley, Mankind or whatever, Dusty Rhodes, man, Tony Atlas. Look, Tony Atlas, man, lived around the corner up the street. He used to have a restaurant down here in the A. Black Bart, Nikita Koloff. Man, I grew up off all that goddamn wrestling, man. Even the Von Erichs, the Harts. I watched the Von Erich family. I watched as they start to die. I was following wrestling so much. I actually was following the sport. Watch their documentary. Seriously, watch their documentary, man. Everything boxers say: AWA, NWA, WCW, Mid-South. For real. Yeah. He said he grew up on all that. For real, man. I'm telling you, man. World wrestling, man. You got to watch this shit. Alex, we're going to have to check out a wrestling match, man. It's on me, man. If we ever in the area, we got wrestling, man, it's on me, man. It's on me. I'm telling you, it'll change your mind, man. Watch wrestling in person on how they're able to do it. If you've never seen damn, what's those twins? Damn, I forgot their name. If you put it this way, the finishing move, the super kick. So many people did. Shawn Michaels did it. Man, there's so many wrestlers did the super kick. If you see that shit in person, you're like, how in the hell are they able to pull that off all the time without kicking the teeth out, kicking somebody's jaw loose? But when they do it in person, man, in recession, you know, step by step and move, it's beautiful. It's nice. Alex said, I watched wrestling growing up until I realized that shit was fake. Then I cut it loose. Wrestlers get hurt. I get that, but at the end of the day, that shit is fake. I like Hulk Hogan and Superfly, Andre the Giant, and so on. Yeah, those are mainstream freaking superstars you just mentioned. You know, Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Superfly Snuka used to jump off the top rope, man. Yeah, man, that's what it was. And all those damn organizations, AWA, NWA, WCW, Mid-South. And then we got AEW, I believe. Man, y'all got to check that shit out. Alex, you got to check that wrestling out, man. Seriously, that's some good shit. And I know wholeheartedly, right? When it comes to the channel, people like for you to stick to one sport. Like, be a boxing sport, my shit would be at 15, 20,000 subscribers by now. But since I cover mixed martial arts and boxing, I'm gonna make the sacrifice. It is what it is, man. I'm never gonna just strictly talk about boxing. I gotta talk about mixed martial arts too, because it involves one of the most unique, dynamic combat skills that you would ever, if you actually spent time to educate yourself, that you would ever witness. And that's jiu-jitsu. Seriously, jiu-jitsu is a sport that no one can fake. Jiu-jitsu, no one can fake jiu-jitsu. Now, you might have a black belt or blue or whatever. You can have a higher belt fake as if they don't know, but I'm talking about someone off the street can't go into a school and fake jiu-jitsu like you can do taekwondo, karate, Muay Thai, any of that. Like, a lot of people can learn how to kick. You can learn how to punch, but jiu-jitsu, you got to get mat time in. Mat time. Alex said Thurman don't stay active enough to even get that opportunity for Bud. I know, Alex, but Keith Thurman came out of the woodworks and he was talking that shit. You know, Keith Thurman was like, shit, hey, don't forget about me. I'm still out here. So if you out here, Keith Thurman, you need to damn come back. You need to goddamn be a dog in the fight, bro. We want to see you get back in there and be one time. Right now, you know time. Seriously, you know time. When you want to eat Sundays before a big match, you lost the respect of your fans doing that shit, man. Alex say the only thing I seen that was real in wrestling, when rest in peace, Owen Hart fell to his death. It's been a lot of cases where fighters got hurt, man. But yeah, Owen Hart, the rig somehow was messed up and he fell to his death, man. Yeah, man, that was unfortunate. Especially, salute to the Hart family, man. They was deep in the wrestling. Very, very deep in the wrestling. The Anvil Hart, Neidhart, he just passed, Hold on for a second. I get me another water, man. One of the baddest entrance that I've seen in wrestling that'll make your skin crawl, man. The Undertaker, hands down, the best ring entrance outside of Bill Goldberg. The Undertaker. That should have changed your life. I'm not gonna lie. That should have changed your life, people. But anyway, I'm off wrestling. We did that. That's all good. We off wrestling. But back to Keith Thurman, man. I really want to see Keith Thurman come back in there and do what he have to do. He's still productive, I believe. He's not that old. But I could say a year ago, we was talking about the welterweight division being the hottest division. Now, I believe the lightweight division has taken over. The lightweight division as a whole, as far as the potential fights to be made, is the hottest division right now. Even when for Lomachenko and Teofimo fight, and we determine a winner, right? I don't foresee any rematch going on in that. Because I know Teofimo has been talking about moving up to junior welterweight. I don't foresee a rematch from either side. What I do see is once that bout happened and the belts are vacated or whatever the case may be, you will be able to see the changing of the guard start to filter in. That includes Gary Russell Jr. if he decides to move up to 135. Changing of the guard is what I mean by new faces that's in the division. The new faces. Those new faces are the Devin Haneys. Those are the Ryan Garcias. You know what I'm saying? Gervonta Davis. You have so many fighters that's aiming to pick up a strap. That division right there will be where they pick up their first strap. And then not to mention, it's only a matter of time before we see Gary Russell Jr. step in the door. I mean, he's making the call out. I don't see Gary Russell just talking just to be talking. And then potentially we'll see Shakur Stevenson. That's looking at that, I really want to see, Shakur Stevenson move up. But I think he's going to try to pick up a belt in the next division higher. And we probably won't see him in lightweight division until 2021, end of 2021, something like that. I don't think Shakur is going to take a long time before he's up in the 135-pound division. And Lord have mercy if we have Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, still all in that goddamn division at the same time. Teofimo Lopez is not going to be there. He's going to move up. And then not to mention Robert Easter is sitting up there at the WBA. Robert Easter is still talented and still a threat to anybody in that division. You still got Javier Fortuna, Luke Campbell. Javier Fortuna is a number one ranked WBC. And Richard Comey, wherever he, whenever he want to, whoever his next fighter be, Lee Selby. And of course, you still have Jorge Linares in the hunt. But the big names is just who I mentioned. And then you have the WBA gold, Van Mendy. So I'm curious. I'm really curious to see if we'll see Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney unify that division later on in the future. See if Robert Easter get in there and pick up another title. You gotta put him in consideration, man. Robert Easter can fight, man. Regardless of him losing to Mikey Garcia, Robert Easter can bang, man. He's still in the hunt for real. And he just snuck up there. Robert Easter just snuck up there in the lightweight division, man, and ranked number one in the WBA. A big name that they was really putting emphasis on at one time was Felix Verdejo. He's still in that division. We'll see, man. Everything boxing said Robert Easter at 140 now. I don't see him in any other sanctioning bodies. They have him ranked at 135. That's the last division I've known him to be. Like, he's not even ranked. There's no way Robert Easter is going to be at the 140, and he's not even ranked in the top 15 of any division. Even when a fighter who's been a previous champion, I mean, most of the time, if they rank high as far as their record and everything else, they're somewhere up in the top 15, man. Oh, so he was moving up. That's how I let Robert Easter just slip under the radar, man. See what Bunny's up to. Yeah, he did fight Adrian Granados. You're right. Why do they still have this dude? Man, that's how under the radar Robert Easter is. He did fight Adrian Granados. He did. I remember that fight too. And that was that. He's gonna stay at 140. Damn. Wait. Understand? Wait. Hey, come give her a cup. Okay. His last fight. That's why. That's why I was thinking. Look, his Bartholomew fight. That's what I was thinking about. His Bartholomew fight was at 135. And he did fight Adrian Granados at junior. So he's gonna stay at 140 now. The boxing rankings need to get themselves on tap because they don't have this man ranked in either sanctioning body. But I guess because he fought Adrian Granados, and Adrian Granados is, we all know Adrian Granados has been up and down. Yeah, he's coming off back to back. He was stopped by Danny Garcia, and he lost a UD to Robert Easter. If you look at Adrian Granados' record, you know, he has 8 losses, and he has pairs of back-to-back losses in his career. He has 3 pairs of back-to-back losses. Felix Diaz, Brad Solomon, then Adrian Broner, Sean Porter, and then Danny Garcia, Robert Easter. Yeah, good point there. Appreciate the info there, everything boxing. Alex said, I like Gary Russell. Them brothers train hard. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing G. Russell come up to the lightweight division, man. We really need some other hitters up here in that division. But I'm not gonna lie, Leonard Ellaby had made mention that Gervonta Davis next fight somehow, some way may be Leo Santa Cruz. He said it on the live. You know, I mean, I know we really don't know since nothing's pumping right now. Boxing is inactive, but I guess Gervonta is definitely projected to step in there with Leo Santa Cruz, man. Who y'all have winning that fight between Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz? Be honest now. Be honest. I need some honesty here. Who y'all think will win that fight between Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis? I need some input, people. Come on now. Any bets on that fight? Leo Santa Cruz, Gervonta Davis? Hey, Alex, I couldn't have said it better, man. I truly believe Gervonta Davis can freaking knock out Leo Santa Cruz, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I ain't going to lie. He went the distance with Abner Mares twice, man. I'm like, bruh, we didn't see anything different that you had to do against him. I don't know, man. People are sleeping on Tank Davis for some reason because he went 12 rounds with Gamboa. But Tank Davis is a savage, man. Man, you can say what he want outside the ring. I'm talking about boxing. Tank Davis is a freaking badger. He's a honey badger, man. That motherfucker Wolverine. Seriously. That motherfucker a Tasmanian devil. Oh, absolutely. Everything about say not a fight I'm interested in. Tank ain't got any business fighting Leo. He should stop Leo. Yeah, he should stop Leo. You know, especially, you know, Leo when he likes shaking his right hand all the time, letting you know he about to throw it. So we'll see, man. We will absolutely see if that fight comes to fruition. And that's the only thing I don't understand about Gervonta. You move up to the lightweight division, but yet you may potentially face Leo Santa Cruz at 130. And the reason why I know this, because when I was talking to his trainer back in the locker room, Calvin Ford, right? He said their intentions are to campaign at 135 and 130. That's what he said. He said, we'll fight 135, we'll fight 130. So this fight with Leo Santa Cruz makes all the sense in the world as money fight. It's a money fight. Alex said, Verdejo is done, brother. I don't see him beating any top guys. He's one-dimensional fighter, if you ask me. He can't fight off the back foot and keeps his head on that line, and that's why he eats punches. A fighter who don't know how to get off that center line will always get hit. True words. I remember watching him fight when I was in NYC, and I was kind of disappointed in how he kept on getting hit. You're right. How he kept on being hit, and I thought he was just a better all-around fighter than that, man. Seriously, I seriously thought he was a better all-around fighter, and I couldn't understand why he just wouldn't make those adjustments like you just said, man. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't move off the center. He was getting look, the fight he had against damn, what was that fighter's name? I forgot his name. He just kept getting hit with the same punch. Lumbro said Leo said he don't want to fight at 135. The only confirmation I can give you on that is that Calvin Ford did say that they're looking to campaign at 135 and 130. So they would drop down to 130 to face Leo Santa Cruz. Now, this is what I can't understand. Y'all correct me on this. Why haven't Leo Santa Cruz fought Gary Russell Jr. though? Why haven't that fight materialized? Why haven't we seen Leo Santa Cruz come close to fighting Gary Russell Jr.? I just don't understand what's going on. That's what boxing sucks. Boxing fails when you have two very competitive fighters, elite fighters, champions that don't fight each other. How is that not possible? How in the hell we cannot get that fight? You know what I'm saying? How is that possible? We never saw Gary Russell and Leo Santa Cruz. Who's running from who? Because it's hard for me to say Gary Russell is running from Leo Santa Cruz. We've heard Gary Russell call out Leo Santa Cruz several times. Why haven't we seen that fight? Alex say he was when he was in let me see, when he fought in PR once, they took him out of his hometown. It was a wrap. Russell fought Joey Diaz. Yeah, I mean, one of the fight he had with Jojo Diaz, man, we saw Gary Russell basically prove to the boxing audience that he has gears. You know what I'm saying? For him to fight once a year, Gary Russell has gears. He can turn over, and he can stay consistent. And he's a very intelligent fighter, period. But I can tell you this much. I can tell you Jojo Diaz learned something from that fight with Gary Russell Jr. We saw it in there against Tevin Farmer. I'm telling you, Jojo Diaz learned a lot from that Gary Russell fight, man. And when he went in there with Tevin Farmer, I'm telling you, he learned a hell of a lot. Everything Boxing said, Gary Russell already whooped him in the amateurs. He don't want to take that L from Gary Russell. Yeah, I was thinking more so in the professional ranks, man. Like a lot of people who beat or defeated a fighter that's maybe at the top of the hill or a champion. The amateurs, that shit could have, should have absolved itself already, and they should be just focusing on professional. You know what I'm saying? Because A lot of people did what they did in the amateurs to certain individuals, not to mention too many names, and they still excel. If by chance Leo Santa Cruz has some fear of facing Gary Russell because he's much more of a dangerous opponent, I can understand that. But God damn it, now it's the time. Leo Santa Cruz fighting Gary Russell right now would be the perfect time for him to do that. But I think, Russell just basically said, forget all that. I'm trying to make as much money as possible. So now I'm moving up to 135 where everybody's at. All the money. I'm pretty sure Gary Russell can make a damn good fight there. I would like to see Gary Russell go in there and fight Ryan Garcia, to be honest. I don't think Devin Haney is gonna touch the Gary Russell fight right now. I don't see it. Gervonta Davis, I don't know, bro. I don't know if that's a fight Gervonta want to take right off the bat. He's more interested in Leo Santa Cruz. So I don't know, man. It's plenty of people that Gary Russell can fight in that division. But who gonna want to fight him, man? Who's gonna want to fight Gary Russell Jr.? Gary Russell, I don't think he'll want to fight Luke Campbell. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even Jorge Linares, man. I think with Gary Russell, he would want to step up in the division and fight somebody that's rated, like ranked. That's important. Lee Selby. Some of these guys, man, they may not want to fight Russell Jr., period. They just not going to step up to the plate and fight him, man. Not even Richard Comey. I can't see Richard Comey doing it. It's a lot of names out there, but I just don't see him stepping up and fighting, man. But I would definitely like to see Devin Haney. I would like to see Gary Russell rematch Vasily Lomachenko if that fight presents itself. And of course, if Ryan Garcia want to step up there and make a name for himself. If Ryan Garcia goes in there and fight Gary Russell and does well, that'll just only improve his Wall Street. Real talk. He can't go anywhere but up. But if he goes in there and get his ass freaking Gary Russell go in there and teach him a boxing lesson like Floyd Mayweather did with Canelo Alvarez, then hey, it's going to take him a minute to get back in that slot for a title. Alex say Leo don't want that smoke. Russell called him out too many times. Leo don't have the power to keep Russell off his ass. I look at both fighters, man. Gary Russell, Leo Santa Cruz, man. I would really want to see them fight more so than I would Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. The reason why I say that because Gary Russell can move up. I mean, move across to schedule that fight. I just think that'll be more of an exciting fight. Gary Russell and Leo Santa Cruz. Gary Russell move up a little bit after he got damn spanked Leo Santa Cruz. Move up to 135. He said he really didn't want to do anything at 130. And speaking of 130, let's say who can make a good fight with Gary Russell at 130? Then you got Oscar Valdez over there. I'm not even gonna say Tevin Farmer. No, I won't even say that. I won't even say it's no Chris Colbert. No. Chris Colbert ain't ready for no Gary Russell Jr., man. He already fought JoJo Diaz. Jamel Herring, he's over there at the WBO. That'd be a good fight. That'd be a good fight. But I doubt it'll happen. But anyway, if Russell is going to move up, let's go. Let's go. We need for something to happen. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, it's only so much you can talk about, and then it gets exhausting. But that's when the welterweight division kind of takes over the helm, because it's a lot of names to make some good freaking matchups in the welterweight division. But it's going to be a minute before we see them all. From Errol Spence to Terrence Crawford, freaking Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao, Vesputin, Virgil Ortiz, Danny Garcia. This what I'm talking about the welterweight division. It is so damn packed. Sergey Lipinets, Keith Thurman, Yodina Zugas. I mean, you have a lot of freaking names up here. And then, of course, Regis Prograis. You know, his name is in the WBO rankings, but I can't really put him in the mix. You know, him and Maurice Hooker supposed to have a fault. Real talk, I got Hooker in that fight. I just think Regis Prograis take too much punishment. I know some of you going to say, well, Hooker got stopped by Ramirez. Totally different fighter. Prograis ain't Ramirez. Let's be clear. But it's going to be a good fight. Hooker Prograis, whenever that kicks back off. Man, Sean Porter deep in the IBL. Damn. What the hell? Sean Porter deep. Sean Porter in his position, he's ranked 10th in the IBF. He'll pretty much wash everyone that's in front of him up to Errol Spence again. But they got that man ranked 10th, man. This shit has no consistency. Seriously, no consistency whatsoever. And you know somebody who might be a sleeper, but I still think I don't know, his record don't reflect everything that people says about him. I think a lot of people are supporting him because he's a well-known name in his hometown. And that's Boots, right? Jerome Ennis. Jerome Ennis, I believe, is 25-0 right now, right? But this last fight, he should have performed a bit better than me. I'm just keeping it 100. Like, he's talented as shit. But I'm very curious to see who he's going to fight next, man, in the welterweight division. But if I'm not mistaken, Jerome Ennis is 25-0. Let me look him up. I think Jerome Ennis Boots. Somebody was telling me that Jerome Ennis, they're moving him. They're still building him up. Building him up? The dude is 25-0, 23 knockouts. How can you be building him up? Yubov, his last freaking opponent was Yubov, 14-1-1. I just don't know what's going on with Jerome Ennis, to be honest. He's a good fighter. Look how many times he fought. He fought 5 times in 2018. He fought twice in 2019, August and October. Very close fights as far as the fight camps. August and October. Won both by stoppage. And then, of course, he fought in January, Yubov, and he ended up getting a TKO. But he should have stopped that dude before that. He stopped him in the 4th round, but he could have stopped him way earlier than that. But anyway, Jerome Ennis is a future contender in the welterweight division. But I'm not sure why people are looking at him as if he's a fighter that's still building up his reputation and his record. He's 25-0 for God's sake, with 23 knockouts. Come on, bro. I mean, how much building is there left for Boots? Seriously, how much is it, man? Alex says, as much as I hate to admit it, but Ryan is going to surprise a lot of people. He don't even have his full manpower yet. What I can agree with is he's still growing. Okay, he's a young hitter in the game. I like what Ryan Garcia is doing with his brand, putting the videos out there. The same thing I said about Devin Haney. Devin Haney keeping himself relevant, putting sparring videos. I mean, not sparring, but training videos out on IG. Damn good marketing with him and Ryan Garcia. They kind of like mirroring one another. They put these training videos out there to keep fans tuning in, right? But with Ryan Garcia, his training videos are unique. I like his training videos. I got to give Ryan Garcia his props because the shit he's doing, it's a like you get mesmerized sometime looking at the speed. He's him out there on his bag, right? And he's doing those drills. I mean, it's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. But one knock that I give him on his training videos, he stands so tall. He stands straight up, like he's not generating that power from his legs, that speed, in my opinion. Like, is he going to be able to transfer that over to the boxing ring? He looks good on the bag. We saw him with a counter left hook. We understand that. But is Ryan Garcia, will he be able to generate and transfer that over, that speed and everything, into a boxing match where he is forced to fight on the inside? He is forced to fight off the back foot. A perfect example that I'm talking about is Mikey Garcia. What impressed me about Mikey Garcia when he stepped up and fought Sergey Lipinets, he showed he can fight forward and he can fight off the back foot and he can fight on the inside. I have to give Mikey Garcia his props. Has nothing to do with the way he was freaking washed against Errol Spence. It's the way he fought against Sergey Lipinets, which proved that he was a multifaceted. I'm just saying, Sergey Lipinets was a Terminator in that fight. Looking at Ryan Garcia, I'm just curious to see, can he do that? If pressured and pressed, can Ryan Garcia fight off the back foot? Can he fight on the inside, man? I'm curious. Alex, y'all said Chris Colbert is my man. Me and his trainer was on the same amateur team. Got to keep it 100%. He is not ready for Russell. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Chris Colbert, very talented fighter, but he isn't ready for Gary Russell Jr., man. But he is a future star in the sport. Okay, Lumbro said Jamal James is a sleeper. I agree. And the other thing about that, Lumbros, is that I'm hearing that Errol Spence's next opponent when he come back may be Jamal James. Real talk. That's what I heard. You know what would be interesting? Errol Spence come back and fight Jerome Ennis, man. I don't think Jerome Ennis will take that fight though. But that'd be a good fight, man. Maurice Hooker is ranked in front of Errol Spence, but we know he was signed up for Progress. But that'll be a good fight, man. Jerome Ennis stepping in there with Errol Spence. Is he ready yet? That's up to him and his team, man. I don't think Errol Spence will step back in here and fight Sergey Lipinets either. And a lot of people like, why Sergey Lipinets? I got mad respect for Sergey Lipinets, man. He's a tough-ass fighter. Seriously, Sergey Lipinets is a tough fighter, man. That motherfucker is tough. But I heard it's going to be, Jamal James, potentially, who Errol Spence faces when he returned. I know a lot of people thinking like, well, they say he was going to face Danny Garcia. I'm just telling you. We might not see Danny Garcia stepping there with Errol Spence after it's all over with. We might not see that shit. You know, one thing we can kind of put a check mark on is that with Florida opening up the beaches, right? Therefore, we may indeed see other people filing suit. The only thing about it, we really don't have a clear picture on what the numbers are like with the pandemic. But if by chance social gathering is out the window for the beaches, then we're going to start seeing small businesses open back up. And what does that say? Combat sports will be back on the schedule. If they're not giving a damn about the beach, then you can't say, well, fouling somebody into a building is any worse than hundreds of people on the beach. So we might see small businesses start to reopen, get back on track, because we're in dire straits right now with the economy. So seeing the beaches open up and different regions make these changes to kickstart the economy, we may see boxing back quicker than what we expected. But you know what? I don't know what the fuck going on with these pandemic numbers, man. Like, where are we at right now? Like, have we found testing? What the fuck are we looking at? I have no idea what's going on, man. And one thing I forgot to mention that I spoke about early in the live that deals with the WBC is, are y'all puzzled just like I am about Jimenez and her popping positive and the WBC belt not being returned to Cruz Zern? Why haven't we heard too much of anything about punishment from Jimenez, who popped positive? The one that absolutely looked like a male. She popped positive. She looked like she was on PEDs. The way she fought Cruz Zern, she was walking through shit. So therefore, she popped positive. We haven't heard anything. Have y'all heard anything about the suspension yet? I haven't heard shit about suspension. And then for the WBC to say, well, it's not going to be as easy as the WBO. She's going to have to fight to regain her title. I think that's lunacy. Being that she was a champion, she fought in a fight against a dirty fighter. She lost. But in the interim, they found out she popped on her A and B sample. So Cruz Zern should have both her titles back. We haven't heard anything on that shit. Nothing. I did read about Deontay Wilder, right? And Tyson Fury. As you listen to the PBC interview with Deontay Wilder, the responses that he was given was very, spoon-fed or vague or what have you. And I can understand why the champ, he's not really giving people any type of food for thought or giving them the whole entree to that fight night, February 22nd, right? But what little he did say, it's out here on the media and people criticizing him on social media for it. And he said he felt like a zombie. What the fuck is wrong with that saying? You felt like a zombie. The man said he felt like a zombie. What is that saying when people make that comparison? That means I feel different. You know what I'm saying? My whole body is slow and lethargic and lazy. I just didn't feel like myself. He's saying he felt like a zombie. What's wrong with that? Why do motherfuckers want to continue to just say, hey, take the loss? That's not saying he ain't taking the goddamn loss until you hear him say, well, I don't acknowledge Tyson Fury as a champion. That's his opinion, right? That's his opinion. He's not saying Tyson Fury didn't win the belt. He's just saying I don't acknowledge him as a champion. People ran with it. Why is Deontay Wilder still making excuses? Why this? Why that? It's not an excuse, man. He's not making excuses. He's just saying, well, I don't acknowledge him as a champion. That's in so many words. It's like he haven't defended the belt. I had that shit for over 5 years. I went in there for the 11th defense. I don't acknowledge him as a champion. Even though he has the belt, I can see where he's coming from. So we'll determine that once they step in there for the trilogy. We'll see. But for somebody to say, okay, Deontay Wilder is being a sore loser, he's not acknowledging the fact that he got beat. just because he said he felt like a zombie. The man say he didn't feel like himself when he stepped into the ring. What's wrong with that? What the fuck is wrong with that, y'all? What is wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't feel right. I'm just being honest. I ain't feel right. If he say, well, what didn't feel right about that moment that you was in there with Tyson Fury? He would say, well, you know, my legs didn't feel right, whatever. What about your legs? What do you think the cause was? Now they just want to dig. And if you don't know by now, you know, the champ, he ain't going to just give you that shit on a plate. He ain't going to tell you everything. He's not going to do it, man. And he proved that once again in PBC. He was basically feeding them hors d'oeuvres, man, on a toothpick when his responses came out. I don't blame him, man, because the media's going to run with that shit, and they're not going to appreciate what you tell them. In the Mexican style news, you know, Abel Sanchez decided to make his presence known again on a fighter that he was praising so highly. He was lauding, you know what I'm saying, just giving him all the accolades possible when they was working together. Now he's saying that Gennady Golovkin doesn't need to take the Canelo fight. It's not a good fight for him. And you know what? As much as I really never supported, I just didn't see everything Abel Sanchez saw in Gennady Golovkin. I agree with him on this. The reason why I agree with Abel Sanchez is that during this pandemic, you know, Gennady has gotten older. He had a birthday. And on top of that, we all know he lost the fight. We all know he lost the fight with Sergey Derevyanchenko. We know that shit. So him being the IBF and IBO champion, whatever, I don't think he should step back in there with Canelo Alvarez because I don't think he can beat him. Canelo Alvarez is on a whole nother platform right now of superstardom. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that potentially Canelo Alvarez can stop Gennady Golovkin for the first time. It might happen. And you're going to have many people saying that, no, not Gennady. That man's a train. He's a Terminator. He can take punishment. I get it. But did you see what happened with him, with Sergey Derevyanchenko? Did you see what was going on? Canelo Alvarez is not Sergey Derevyanchenko. Let's be clear. I think Gennady Golovkin can get his ass whooped fighting Canelo Alvarez again. Perky say even Dave McWarrior said he was making excuses. I mean, it's easy for us to be on the outside say a fighter's making excuses. But what's considered an excuse if you say you felt like a zombie? I don't see that as an excuse. If somebody said they felt a certain way on the fight after going 12 rounds with a fighter, that's not a knockout artist, right? When you went 12 rounds with a fighter that's not a knockout artist, December 2018, and the only person that got knocked down was Tyson Fury, but all of a sudden, at Tyson Fury's age, he gets Sugar Hill Stewart and just changes up the routine a little bit. That doesn't mean Deontay Wilder got any worse. Deontay Wilder went 12 rounds with Tyson Fury easily and threw more punches than Tyson Fury in the first fight. If he just say he felt like a zombie, is that really an excuse? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that really an excuse? He's just saying he felt like a zombie. That's all I'm saying. He said he felt like a zombie, man. Lumbro said, I heard that they are trying to sell out Fury's contract to Skip Wilder and go straight. Don't believe all that BS agitprop that they putting out there for people to start believing something like that. If it was that easy, a lot of people would be doing the same thing. And if somebody's really paying $100+ million for Tyson Fury to be able to cash out. Don't think Deontay Wilder is just going to be, the goat by the wayside when you hear shit like that. Like Deontay Wilder is not going to be in litigation to sue if that shit was to happen, because that's exactly what would happen. But I saw that out there on social media. Don't believe that shit. It's just agitprop. Believe that. Is that as true when Wilder versus Joshua should have happened? Well, Wilder versus Joshua, it was just negotiation, miscommunication, a whole lot of other discord that was happening internal to the negotiation process. I really couldn't touch too much on it except from the outside with the numbers being the way they were. The 12 million flat, the 12 million, 15 million flat fee. They never offered that to any one of Deontay's opponents. I mean, any one of Anthony Joshua's opponents before. So they really wasn't trying to make the fight. They wanted to send Deontay in there fighting for pennies. They wanted no rematch clause in that too. They wasn't trying to make the fight, people. And then with Joshua, you request 50 million and turn it down and say you're not going to sell yourself. How you selling yourself out for 50 million? That's guarantee money. That's not the cap. That's guarantee money. Joshua could have walked up out of there like 70, 80 million. No, that would have messed up his Wembley deal. That bogus ass 2-fight Wembley deal. You know what I'm saying? That would have messed up the DAZN deal. They never had intentions of freaking making that fight, man. Stephen Wood, welcome, man. Salute to you. We all had those types of days. It just happened on a big night in his career. Look, athletes in general, man. I don't know if people been athletes at the highest level. I mean, you're not going to just perform the same way every time. I'm not going to sit up here and just come up with all these variables or scenarios that may have contributed to him feeling the way, because I just don't know. But come on. I felt like a zombie. I think that's pretty, all right. That's a light. Canelo Alvarez fight next. From my understanding, Canelo Alvarez, I'm not sure, man. If, I thought he had one fight. He was supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders, right? Canelo Alvarez was supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders. Of course, Billy Joe has no license right now because he wanted to be an absolute idiot and do a video on domestic violence, on how to smack the shit out your girl. So he's going to be out for a while. No, I'm not saying he's going to be out, but his license is suspended or provoked or whatever. So that's not saying he's not going to get it back. You know what I'm saying? There's been plenty of people lose their license. They got it back. But anyway, he's supposed to fight him. So we don't know who he's going to fight next. Seriously. But I really didn't want to see Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders. I can tell you that right now. I would like to see Canelo fight somewhere in the middleweight division. Preferably Demetrius Andrade or Jamal Charlo. That would be very exciting. Steven said nobody wants to see that trilogy. You ain't never lied, man. You ain't never lied on that. Alex says, Scotty White, I got to keep it real, but Wilder put all this negativity talk on himself by saying his outfit was too heavy. It's more than saying he did not feel good. Who he say his outfit was too heavy? Where he say his outfit was heavy? Did the media say that or did Wilder say that? Because in the ring, Wilder kind of made a statement, his legs was kind of this, that, and the other. But who said somebody's outfit? And he never mentioned his outfit at all. That shit was in the media, but when have you heard him talk about, after the fight, his outfit was heavy. That shit was in the media though. The only thing that was said is like he felt like a zombie. He felt bad. He felt like a zombie. But hey, that fight's over, man. I'm really looking forward to the trilogy. Tyson Fury is a WBC heavyweight champion. Real talk. But the good thing about it, we have a trilogy. Now, the naysayers, what's going to happen? The naysayers is going to stay on tap, and they're going to continue to push the narrative that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is going to happen. And if that fight was to happen, it's no way that I see Anthony Joshua. If Tyson Fury isn't selling his belts, it's no way I see Anthony Joshua defeating Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? And this is what makes it so crazy and filled with stupidity when it comes to Anthony Joshua. Let me read off what he said, people. Because when I quote, Anthony Joshua has a lot of freaking fan that's out here that can see nothing past his trash talking. This dude talks trash too, man. He talks bullshit too. Where's the I'm about to find an article. I'm not gonna read the whole article, Anthony. Okay, one thing Anthony Joshua said is that he reveals the reason why he didn't take shots at bitch Deontay Wilder after Tyson Fury crushed him, right? I'm just finding the article. I'm trying to find the article, not the video. Okay. Anthony Joshua says this. He says to Tyson Fury, "Come fight me if you want to prove you're the number one champion." Let me get up out of here. Unfortunately, that's not the article I wanted. Oh, another statement Anthony Joshua made said he's willing to face Tyson Fury behind closed doors. Where's that at? Where's that at, people? Where's it at? Where's it at? I can't find it. Let me see. Is this the article? That's not it. Just give me a moment. Oh, I know where to find that at. I know where to find it at. I really don't like how a lot of these sites, man, are using cookies and shit. I'll look at it a different day. I'll prepare for that a different day. Alex said, I read that. Steven said, Wilder definitely wasn't himself. If he said he felt fine, we would have said he was lying. True, I agree. Loomis said, okay, yeah, I thought it was some BS. Someone said that right after the fight. More media. Steven said, do you think the trilogy will happen across the pond or in the U.S.? It's definitely not going to happen across the pond there, Steven, because Tyson Fury dropped his license, his UK boxing license, in the light of Mr. Carefoot coming out with those accusations about, saying that he fed them or provided them with uncastrated wild boar. So therefore, this is way back in 2015, and he would indeed have perjured himself. So therefore, if they was going to start an investigation over there with Tyson Fury with the active license, then it could have been much more worse when it finally came out in the wash, right? So Tyson Fury, he dropped his license. So it's not going to be over there for sure. The fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury will not be in the UK. You can guarantee that. Tyson Fury does not have a license over there. You know, like I said, in the light of this allegation that came out with Mr. Carefoot, who has been absolutely in seclusion, you know what I'm saying? The man was getting threats and everything else. I don't know what's going on with that dude, but he made some serious allegations about saying he was asked to lie and say he gave them uncastrated wild boar, which contributed to him, Tyson Fury, testing positive on the test. So we'll see, man, if he even comes out, if this even comes out anymore on the media headlines. I'm pretty sure somebody looking into it if Tyson Fury dropped his license. Tyson Fury is no longer licensed in the UK as a fighter. So to answer your question, Stephen, no, the fight will not be in the UK. It's definitely going to be over here in the US. And I heard a lot of people talk about Saudi Arabia. Look, that Saudi Arabia, don't get it twisted. You know, it's a lot of fighters trying to go over there and get that Saudi money. But then again, it's money over here in the freaking heartland of boxing too. The US. It's money over here too. Believe that, people. It's money over here to be made. But back to my boy Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is talking a lot of shit right now, man. He's talking a lot of shit, y'all. Anthony Joshua is talking mad. He's talking a lot of trash talk right now. Somehow, some way trying to build up. First, he was talking shit about Wilder leading up to the Tyson Fury Wilder rematch. And then after Tyson Fury wins, he starts going in on Tyson Fury. No one's believing this shit now. Like, you want to call Tyson Fury a bitch? Prove it. Prove that Tyson Fury a bitch. Because if Fury has to go in there against Joshua, I got Fury all day long. I got Fury giving Joshua a damn boxing clinic, right? If Tyson Fury isn't there to sell his belts, he will absolutely beat the brakes off Joshua. Fuck up everything you seen in the Andy Ruiz rematch. Tyson Fury beats Joshua hands down. Hands down. And of course, the good thing about that fight, I don't see Tyson Fury picking up his damn license anytime soon, right? So just say, for instance, that Tyson Fury has the belt, and the next person in line after Kubrat Pulev can beat Tyson Fury. Will Anthony Joshua come on here to the United States to fight Tyson Fury? I don't think so. Will we potentially see that fight somewhere in parts like Saudi Arabia or something like that? I think so. I think they will definitely try to get Tyson Fury over in Saudi Arabia to fight for the undisputed titles. That would be disappointing to the U.S. footprint if we're not able to see a fight like that. But my impression is that Deontay Wilder should go back in there and pick up that belt in the trilogy. That's real talk. I do believe Deontay Wilder can go back in there and regain his title. And then thereon, Anthony Joshua will begin to fragment his belts and not take his mandatories. You see the motherfuckers fall off like trinkets, dog. For real. Joshua and Deontay Wilder, I just don't see that shit ever happening. Deontay Wilder picks back up his WBC belt. I don't see Anthony Joshua saying, you know what, let's fight. It ain't no goddamn 80-20, no 70-30 shit. None of that. Even with both of them having one loss now, it's no freaking, 70-30 shit. It's no, it's not going to happen. It's no 60-40. If anything, it'll be split, and the fight should be in the U.S. Seriously, Anthony Joshua needs to prove to his fans that he is not fearful coming over to the U.S., just like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's made this a second home. So, Wilder pick up the belt, bring Anthony Joshua back over here so he can see what it's like. Now, my thing is, I can't talk too much on it because I just think it's a fight that would be so far ghost, it'll never come to fruition. It will never come to fruition. And I think Deontay Wilder will go somewhere over there like Saudi. He was going to go over there to Russia to fight Povetkin, right? I believe. So I don't think he's against fighting outside of the perimeter of his home country. But Joshua would be the question. How difficult will Joshua and Eddie Hearns make it to negotiate that fight if it came down to it? How difficult would they make it, man? That's my point. I really want to see Wilder and Joshua. But first, I want to see him go ahead and get his belt back. But I really want to see Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua because there's a lot of history between them two. It's a lot of animus. It's a lot of disrespect. It's a lot of personal shit that happen when someone wants to send a fighter into the heat of battle for pennies. And you can almost guarantee Deontay Wilder has not forgotten the bullshit that went on for like 3 to 4 months in the negotiation process, the failed negotiation process of all that flat fee and the 50 million and him obliging it and just basically saying the fight has to happen this year. When it was going on in 2018, we have to fight this year in the States, no rematch. That's it. And Joshua didn't want to do it. Eddie Hearns wouldn't check off on the box. He probably gave Anthony Joshua, he bent him over his knee and gave him a goddamn whooping for jumping on goddamn social media without permission. Even though Joshua was saying, well, Eddie, I had some phone minutes. I had about 20 phone minutes on there. I do apologize. I do apologize for that. It won't happen again, but, I just had some fun with Deontay. I just had some fun. I just wanted to make it seem interesting, like I was actually going to step up and face the Bronze Bomber. But in reality, I was quite fearful deep down in my heart. I was quite scared. I didn't really think him and his team would bring that 50 million, but God damn it. You know what I mean? When I saw the 50 million and they made it, I was quite shocked actually. So therefore I said, God damn it. How do I abort the mission and still save face with my fans? I don't know. Someone let me know. You know what I mean? Someone please explain to me, how can I abort the mission? And you know what? Eddie came to my rescue and I totally appreciate it. I said, Eddie, thanks for getting me up out of here, giving me a nice slap on the kisser, bending me over, giving me a nice little spanking with a ruler, and telling me, don't you ever jump on social media again and talk without me being in the presence. Do you understand that, Joshua? Yes, Daddy Hearns, I totally understand, and I truly apologize. So go on, run. Go on, have some fun. You're free to go. You're on liberty. I'm just fucking around, dog. Oh my God, man. Shit. I mean, that's just about what happened. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Anthony Joshua was a dosser for a moment, not really paying attention to what he's supposed to. Eddie Hearn never gave him permission to be on the microphone alone. You're always supposed to be supervised, especially if you're talking about Deontay Wilder. You should have been supervised, but no, you sit up there by yourself. and think you really paying your own bills. No, I pay your bills. You fight. I sign the checks. I cash the checks. And then whatever's left over after my 40%, then we take it from there, Anthony. Don't ever forget that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to repeat myself over and over there, Joshua. Don't let this happen once more. You understand? Don't let it happen again. Else I'll have to start building up Dillian White. Build up a fight between you and Dillian White. Have you throw the fight. Have Dillian as the champion. Just to teach you a lesson. Do not play with Eddie Hearns. You understand? You know what I mean? We're trying to build a business here. But the next time, you need to go through the protocol and make sure you hear from me before you get on there and accept $50 million or ask for $50 million, knowing that we already have plans in place. You understand? Okay. Chop, chop. Carry on. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Carry on. Run along. Do you think the truly will happen across the pond? Perky, UFC talk. Dana say there's new rules for fighters. What? What new rules? Enlighten me. I'm kind of exhausted from hearing the UFC, because last night supposed to have been the UFC 249, and of course it was a total absolute blackout, canceled, shut down. It was going to be on the Indian reservation, Tacky Palace and Casinos, but Governor Newsom over in California shut that shit all the way down. And for whatever reason, I put it like this: what was the purpose of shutting down that, 2 weeks ago? But now Florida is opening up the beaches, and then not only that, you see that they put in the media saying Vince McMahon is essential for business. So what was the purpose in them shutting down Dana White out of spite? And now we're going to be opening up in May. We may potentially be opening up small businesses for operation in May when the pandemic is still actively flourishing. I don't get it, man. But Dana White, man, speaking of the UFC, Dana White, I gotta give him his credit for trying to be a soldier. He's trying to be a general. He ain't trying to be a soldier. Dana White is trying to be a general. So, being that you mentioned this, I'm going to mention what just came out. So, talking about coronavirus and the pandemic, let me get to the core of what they're talking about. They're just talking about what's been going on during the pandemic and all that. They're not really talking about anything important. I have to take a little bit of time outside of this live to do that. Let me see. What do these titles say? What they are talking about is May 16 potentially still being on board. May 16. They're pushing for May 16, man. Man, Vitor Belfort is working on one championship debut. Damn, Vitor, when you gonna retire, homie? Damn, Vitor. You know who I was hoping to come back to the sport? I really did. I wanted her to come back to the sport. I truly, truly did when she was in her prime before she started making all the movies. Gina Carano. It's just something about Gina Carano. Someone as tough as Gina Carano, man. She fought Chris Cyborg when Cyborg looked like a comic book hero. Like she was obviously, in my opinion, she was dirty. You know, man, she was extremely bulky. And Gina Carano took that whooping, and she didn't quit. I was really hoping to see Gina Carano, with the rumors have it that she was going to leave acting and get back in the gym and come back and fight, potentially in UFC. And I know a lot of talk was at one point in time, Carano coming here and facing Rousey. But I really was hoping that Gina Carano come back to the sport of mixed martial arts. I truly wanted to see her fight again. Damn, Court McGree talking about 14 years of sobriety. Okay. Oh, getting back to, since I'm on this, I know Daniel Cormier did an interview with Ariel Helwani, right? And he kind of mentioned some very good points about the pandemic, social distancing, right? Leading up to this UFC 249, he was talking about the interviews that was taking place and how he was going to do the fight breakdowns. And he talked about how the guy from the UFC came over and set up over his house. He never seen the guy. The guy came in and set up in this room. He left the door open and everything. He came and set up and left the camera running. Daniel Cormier came back downstairs. You know, he had the mask on and everything. I mean, it was in his house, rather. And he came down. The guy was gone. He sat out in the truck. And Daniel Cormier did the breakdown of the UFC 249. After he was done, he walked back upstairs, told the guy he was finished, and the guy came in there and broke down the equipment and left. That's how serious the UFC or Daniel Cormier was taking that pandemic. Real talk. That's how serious it was. Now, he said the fight was actually going to happen. No doubt about it. He said the fight card was going to happen and they was pushing it to happen, but it ended up being shut down. One good point he did make that provided clarity about these fighters and receiving pay. He said that some of these fighters in the UFC, just say for instance, they get paid $50,000 per fight. They don't get any stipends. A lot of these fighters don't have sponsorship, because you know how that was shut down when Reebok came in and everything for a lot of fighters, right? So he was saying that a lot of fighters are running low. Like fighters just don't get paid stipends and everything until the next fight card take place. It just doesn't happen that way. So he was basically saying some of these fighters' cash flow could potentially be running low and they want to fight. And that's just like I said, like a lot of these fighters probably calling Dana White up to make the fights happen because they're going broke. And he don't want some of his good fighters winding up on the street or being homeless or anything. So he's really trying to feed the platoon. He's trying to feed the company, so to speak. As the general, as the leader, as the president, I think wholeheartedly Dana White is really trying to provide for these fighters who's in a bad place right now. So, you know, Daniel Cormier, he did DC. He made it perfectly clear that Dana was trying to push the fight card and he was trying to do everything in his power to get the UFC back on track as far as being on TV and everything. Let me get one last thing out the way I'm looking for, and then I am going to call it a day. Did I talk about the situation with John Jones? Oh, and one other thing, Tony Ferguson being on weight. Tony Ferguson weighed in at 155, man. You got to give up for Tony Ferguson being on weight during this time, maintaining discipline. It takes a lot of mental strength for Tony Ferguson during the pandemic to be on weight. This dude is on weight in case you get the call up, man. That's called taking your job seriously, being a professional. And he weighed in 155, man. Like he was on fucking weight, dog. Like you got to give him his respect. A lot of people weighing in thinking Tony Ferguson takes out Justin Gaethje. Just a lot of people are chiming in on that, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, to be honest. I see a lot of positive things happen with Justin Gaethje getting this opportunity. But I'll save it for another time. I'm not going to get into the UFC aspect of it this time. Torrey Savage said Lou DiBella gives the fighters cash advance during the COVID-19 crisis. Yeah, I heard about that. Somebody else told me about that. And, of course, Lou DiBella probably only provides his fighters. I'm not sure how many fighters that is, but who he's in charge of. So there might not be that many fighters that he's able to supply, but good deal. I did hear that about Lou DiBella, and salute to him for that. But yeah. Perkins said wants to pump out fights every Saturday from May 9th. Yeah, man, that's gonna flood the combat scene, man. It's just all about how the fight cards are. That'd be good shit. I ain't gonna lie. For Dana White to pump out fights to catch up to his, he was on schedule to have certain fights this year. Like what, 40-something fights this year or something like that? Fight cards. So him trying to catch up, man, and pump out every Saturday, we'll see how that goes down, y'all. We'll see though. But I would definitely look into that if he has new fighter regulations during the pandemic to step in the cage. I'm pretty sure everybody does. You have to get testing. I'm pretty sure everybody does. But people, remember on the way out, I'll pass the word about World Combat Sports, man. I just don't say this shit. Pass the word. And once again, everybody that respect the channel, I truly appreciate it. And for those of you that tuned in and want to run back and tell your daddy what I had to say, then by all means do so. But I'm not in competition with any other media outlet. That's not what I do. I'm not really. I'm not here to pump out media. And if anybody look at my content, it goes much deeper outside the bounds of just doing social media. Before this shutdown, like I said before, I did show homage to the grassroots. I did visit fight cards. And also I was on here periodically doing online stuff. But of course, to certain people that do it all the time, they may have a problem with it. And I really don't care, because you don't own this platform, nor does anyone recognize a certain group or entity as the best that's out here doing it. You can't be the best when you only supporting black fighters. You have to support combat sports in general. You can't go out here and dog every fighter that's not black and say, oh, I'm the best out here doing it just because of your subscribers. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work. And those of you that supporting the channel, I appreciate you supporting the channel. Those who donate to the channel, I truly appreciate and I'm thankful. Salute to you. But don't think for 1 minute I'm bowing down to stupidity, garbage, and you're not respecting anything I've been doing in the sport. And to the fighters who choose to listen to these individuals, and not support the channel, it's okay. It's all good. I'm not gonna beg and plead. I'm not gonna beg either. I'm not gonna capitulate and sit up here and act like you're the only fighter in the game. If you're not smart enough to give me a chance and know how respectful I go about the game, then so be it. It's all good. But be sure to turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports, y'all. Be safe out there. God bless.